else might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right, granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, and I know that's apparently not
trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has ended. This as critics are calling for more transparency in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Welcome back as we head into hour 2 of America Reports. I'm Sandra Smith in New York, and Bill, great to have you here today.
Great to be with you as well, Sandra. I'm Bill Malugin in Los Angeles. John Roberts has the day off. That meeting Sandra just mentioned just wrapped up moments ago. Maxwell was escorted back to the prison from the courthouse in Tallahassee. Her attorney said they had a, quote, productive meeting with Blanche, but details of their talks still remain under wraps right now.
All right, Fox Team coverage is at the ready. Chief legal correspondent Shannon Bream is live here in New York City, standing by with analysis. But first, let's get to our justice correspondent, David Spunt. He's got the latest from Washington for us. So, David, what else did Maxwell's attorney say?
Well, he said a lot. We wish we could be in and hear what was said in the actual meeting. This meeting was a lot shorter than it was yesterday, but this was a 2-day event. The highlight, though, it appears that her team wants a pardon. Watch.
We're going to take one day at a time. I know that's very cliche, but it's true because things are happening so quickly. We haven't spoken to the president or anybody about a pardon just yet. And you know, listen, the president this morning said he had the power to do so. We hope he exercises that power in the right and just way.
Pretty wild, hey? Trump will pardon Maxwell and they'll find some way. They'll find some way to integrate it all into the web. You pre-watch the stream. Not confirmed yet. No, not confirmed. But it's funny. It's funny at how obviously corrupt this whole thing is. I'm playing the guitar, by the way. Like the stream, guys. It's a funny joke. This is me. Hey folks, how y'all doing? Okay, so in a second, it's not gonna be a super long stream. We're gonna be chatting with Aaron, who wanted to show me some stuff on Hunter Biden, parts of the interview, I think, and discussing some aspects of that. I think it's not gonna be super helpful to prepare in terms of like what's going on tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm on Tim Pool. I think it's live. Some either 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern time for you guys. Yeah, my eyes are a little sore. I'm trying to use this thing to like help them out a bit. But yeah, they're sore. What can I say? I'm doing my best to try to take hold of the redness and actually calm it down a bit. It's so annoying, but hopefully it'll be under control by tomorrow. And if not, I'll have to like wear some glasses and take some eye drops. There's some eye drops that are really great actually that help the appearance of it. They don't necessarily like help, I feel like, the around redness, but I think they help in. No, it's not pink eye. Just chill. It's a condition, all right? But anyway, we'll be talking with Aaron about that stuff. But just like a couple things that sort of circulate in my mind, a little bit hilarious that the White House is now openly like considering a pardon. I know that Trump said, "Oh, I didn't think about it," but it's like I have the power to do it. And now Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyers are like, "Yeah, look, they're talking about pardons. Everyone's talking about pardons." We have Newsmax saying that Maxwell was a quote unquote victim, perhaps was a victim, and so the language is already changing. And so we've gotten to the point now where MAGA is going to have to find a way to contort themselves to accept potentially a pardon or a lenient sentence or some kind of, I don't know, some kind of leniency on Maxwell in exchange for what? And it wouldn't be so obviously corrupt if they hadn't tried it before with like Eric Adams and all these other people. Trump has like made it basically legal to do all kinds of super corrupt quid pro quos. The Qatar airplane, among other things. The crypto stuff, his coin. So I just don't even understand, like, even if it were true, right? Like, even if they admitted it, even if Trump went on TV and said, yes, in exchange for Maxwell confirming that this is a Democrat-invented hoax, I'm giving her a pardon. If you put it in those terms, like as literal as I'm saying right there, I actually don't know that, A, there would be anything that John Roberts would say would be criminal about that. So if this were like later indicted, this kind of corrupt deal, like bribe in exchange for, or use of official power in exchange for some politically soothing message from Maxwell, I'm actually like not sure whether that would be a crime for the president to do under Trump versus United States. Presumably, it wouldn't be because it's not within their power to, like, it just makes no sense. That case makes no sense, But even putting that like aside, I don't even think he'd lose much support among his most faithful base. Now his numbers are going down. That's great, but it's independents. It's not the MAGA base. So yeah. Someone says Jake Sullivan is a bitch. Did you read the Reuters investigation into the Starlink shutdown mid-Ukrainian counteroffensive in 2022? I don't understand. Did he shut down the? Did he shut something down? Did he shut down Starlink? Jake Sullivan did? Has Roberts or Trump done more damage to the U.S.? Probably Trump. Yeah, certainly Trump has done more damage to the U.S. for sure. But Roberts has like let it happen. Oh my God! Wait, before Aaron gets here, I wonder if we have time to show you. It's so funny. This is like, I'm actually gonna try to show you guys right now. We're in Bizarro world. And I want to show you something really funny. It's a lawsuit, all right? We're not going to dwell that much time on it, but it's fucking hilarious. And I just want to show it to you guys. So someone sued John Roberts in his official capacity, right? So like the Chief Justice of the United States was sued in his official capacity. And he was sued by, let me just pull it up real quick. He was sued by a group affiliated with Stephen Miller. It's so good. Hang on a second. Let's put Roberts in here. Rob. And I just want to show you like how insane we are. You guys are going to love it. Here we go. Found it. Found it. Okay. So, a group affiliated. Thank you, Vasarako, for the membership. A group affiliated with like Stephen Miller filed this lawsuit against John Roberts. And this isn't an opinion. This is Roberts' motion to dismiss. So, right, they sued the Chief Justice in his official capacity. And this is Roberts' motion to dismiss. And basically what they're asking for is for Roberts to acknowledge that the courts are parts of the executive branch. Right? So ostensibly it is a FOIA action. And the Stephen Miller's affiliated entity is trying to get documents from the courts. Obviously, like FOIA only applies to agencies, not to like the judicial branch, not to the president, not to Congress. And so basically, Stephen Miller is filing a lawsuit. You can think of it this way. This is not literal because it's like an entity, and, it's in Roberts' official capacity. But Stephen Miller is filing a lawsuit, essentially, in so many words, to declare the courts parts of the executive branch under the rules for FOIA. And Roberts has to be responding to this. Like, imagine, like, he has a lawyer maybe working for him to defend himself in a district court. Presumably, if this got appealed, it would go up to him sitting on the Supreme Court in his Supreme Court capacity. I don't know if he would recuse himself in that circumstance if this got to the Supreme Court. But Roberts is having to like either write this or get someone to write this on his behalf. I wonder actually if he had hired lawyers. Yeah, legal counsel. So maybe this is like official legal counsel for the Supreme Court. And Stephen Miller's like, you are part of the executive branch. And I find that there's a little schadenfreude. How would a lawsuit ever even be able to converse the courts into conceding to being under executive rule? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Just a quick little peek. So basically we got this judicial conference. They're in charge for a lot of like how the courts organize themselves. And it was initially organized under a congressional statute that establishes the judicial conference. And it consists of the Chief Justice, a Chief Judge of each federal judicial circuit, the Chief Judge of the Court of International Trade, and a district court judge from each federal judicial circuit. So it's made up just like entirely of judges, of Article 3 judges. And, he goes into a little bit of the judicial history that they like made this specifically to, initially the Attorney General was supposed to be on the Judicial Council, right? But then they removed him, and then they just said like the Attorney General can, on request of the Chief Justice, can like report to the conference when the Chief Justice asked them. But like they essentially made this entire statutory scheme of organizing the federal courts to be in the hands of the judiciary. And so that's kind of like the background of the statute. The action. The plaintiff filed this action on April 22nd, 2025. So like while Trump is in office, Stephen Miller is doing this little thing. And think about what could possibly have led them to want to file this action. So you might think like, oh, it's a little bit much for me to claim that Stephen Miller is trying to do something shady or whatever. First of all, it's Stephen Miller. But second of all, like, what could they be thinking about? What they could be actually like wondering about? Like, why are they filing this FOIA stuff against Chief Justice? Obviously, they're trying to push and push and push and push and get and exert greater amounts of control over like the courts. You're the man, Pisco. These deals are trying to find loopholes. Yeah, no, I'm happy to bring this to your attention. That same day, plaintiff filed an amended complaint. In the amended complaint, plaintiff asserts that defendants, that is Chief Justice Roberts et al., violated FOIA by declining to provide records purportedly in their control in response to plaintiff's requests. As relief in this action, plaintiffs seek a declaration that the records must be disclosed, a declaration that defendants are subject to FOIA as independent agencies within the executive branch. So they want a ruling basically saying that the Chief Justice in his official capacity as like head of the court system is an independent agency. under the executive branch. So this is their theory of unitary executive theory is now like the courts are part of our dominion and control. In order the defendants search for records responsive to plaintiff's FOIA requests and that they were send them back, right? Moving to dismiss for lack of subject matter jurisdiction and failure to state a claim. And this is like Roberts arguing that they're not agencies. FOIA directs agencies, right? There's a specific carve out in the definition of agencies that it doesn't include the courts of the United States. There's like precedent that the exemption applies not just to like the courts themselves, but like subcomponents of courts or things that organize the courts. Administrative office of the court and the judicial conference are not one of these agencies. So it's all like there's an explanation here. Trump wants his words scrubbed from transcripts. His cabinet is all over Signal, just communicating under the table as much as possible while also exposing those comms through these insecure channels. Yeah, everyone kind of forgot about Signalgate, which is just also, it's the tits. It's the tits because think about how much of a meal, like Signalgate by any objective measure, I think is like way, way worse than what Clinton did with her emails on like every objective measure. Way, way, way worse. And for them, that's just like Tuesday. Because with Clinton, you could never show that she was aware that they were sending over classified information. But now you have like a independent or supposedly independent, supposed to be independent, Inspector General from the DOD saying, yeah, this was all classified. And even though like they lied to Congress and said it wasn't. I think even Tulsi lied to Congress and said it wasn't. God, what I wouldn't give. What I wouldn't give for a debate with Tulsi Gabbard. The Hutch stuff? No. Like, here's the thing. I'm going to focus my attention on MACA. I'm going to live with that. And definitely stay true to that, you know? I think that there's a lot of bad faith actors who are trying to take what is like a very mild disagreement, and turn it into something bigger. And so I view that as reprehensible, malicious. Basically, the disagreement is not over politics, not over lefty thing. It's only to do with strategy. What's the best tactics to have gotten Biden's agenda done? And that's just a strategic question. So anyone who's trying to paint this to you as lefty versus left, they are lying to you, or they didn't watch any of our discussions. We're only talking about Biden's agenda. And so I think it's convenient, wrong, malicious for people to pretend that this is about leftyism. It's not at all about that. And I think that that's motivated by personal grievances, feelings of betrayal that have no relevance whatsoever to the underlying issues. No relevance whatsoever. And if you can identify points, but everyone who, by the way, who comes on stream to discuss the issue, that's why it's like a wasted cause. Everyone comes on to discuss the issue, invariably says, yeah, you guys did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. You did nothing wrong. Like, find me someone who came on and said, yeah, you guys did something wrong. You actually did abandon Hutch. You actually did this or that. The most that they say are like things like, you should virtue signal that you hate Hassan more. And that is the soyest fucking shit, even though we already do. So all of this has been distorted, I think, for malicious ends. I think for the purpose of trying to sow discord. I'm pretty sure that that's what's going on here. So I just have like no interest in spending all my time like relitigating what is, again, a strategic, tactical discussion about how Biden's agenda would have best been implemented. That's what the discussion is about. That's what it was on with the Vanguard. Has nothing to do with leftyism versus liberalism at all. At all. That's pretty bad faith. That's pretty bad faith, says Timothy. No, I mean, it's true. It's absolutely true. What about what I said is not true, Timothy Douglas? Maybe you'll be the last person we bring on. Timothy. Timothy Douglas, that's pretty bad faith. Can you identify a way in which actual like political disagreement factors into this discussion at all? No, 0%. It's just drama froggers. That's all it is. Like, actually name the ideological disagreement that you think is embodied in that discussion. There's not one. You can't identify one. Timothy Douglas. How you and Josiah say Hutch doesn't want us punching left or punching right is bad faith. I don't know how that relates to what I just said. How you and Josiah saying Hutch doesn't want us or leftists punching right is bad faith. Find me saying that. I think I critiqued Hutch because Hutch is saying you need to punch left. And we're asking, like, why? Why should we spend our time doing that? You can conflate unhinged, baseless attacks against Biden as the left punching right. So I conflate unhinged, baseless attacks against Biden as the left punching right. So to be clear, Timothy is totally wrong about this. We were talking about AOC, right? AOC's tweet, right? AOC's tweet and the left's response to AOC's tweet, punching to the right. Timothy, agreed that that's what we were talking about, and that would be punching right, correct? The example that I just brought up, Timothy. Yeah. So that's an example of, quote, punching right, correct? On the Biden stuff, that conversation is about how to enact Biden's agenda. Whether Biden should be pressuring a little bit more on the right of his caucus, not about whether we should be pushing Biden. So you've even Timothy Douglas specifically, I'm talking to you specifically, you've even misunderstood the Biden conversation. The Biden conversation isn't should we attack Biden? It's what should Biden do? Should Biden have done X, Y, or Z? And that is a strategic conversation, not ideological. So once again, you're wrong. Okay, so he's wrong on two fronts, because one is, if you're referencing the AOC, that is quote unquote punching right ideology. Wouldn't you agree? That's how people are characterizing it. The left attacking AOC is criticizing AOC for not being left-wing enough. Yes or no? Timothy, just that specifically. Let's get on that specifically. They're attacking AOC for not being left enough, correct? No. Okay, so explain to me why. So then that's actually crazy, because what you're saying is, therefore, it's not punching right to attack AOC on the issue of funding for IDF. Okay, then I guess then you don't have a problem with them doing that critique from that like ideological perspective. But what I hear is, from everyone else, those are lefties going unhinged purity testing on leftyism. But you're telling me it's not ideological. So that's very interesting, actually. So you'll have to explain that. So two ways in which you're wrong. I think most people would consider that punching right to AOC, because she has not adopted the full lefty orthodox on Gaza. I think that is, most people would. So I think you're wrong about what most people mean by that. And certainly what people meant when they were talking about it in the chat vis-a-vis our discussion. And you're also wrong about the Biden stuff, because you're mischaracterizing the disagreement, which is ultimately about tactics, not about like criticizing Biden as such. It's about what Biden should have done. Should Biden have done this or that to signal left, to punch right? So you've just totally, I think I think I'm being correct here in my analysis, completely misread the conversation. Just utterly failed to even comprehend it at all. Just totally failed. I think framing it as punching blank is false. So, okay. So now you're saying that us framing anything as punching is false, or like, so what are we talking about? So I take punching right, punching left to mean directing criticism. I don't take it as literal, right? So when Hutch says, I'm going to focus on leftyism and people going left, I take that as he's going to punch left. That is to say, he's going to criticize the left. You get me? This is so wild, because Hutch's point is that attacking the vehicle that will make advancement in progressivism possible is the damage. So Timothy, you're suggesting that if we say that Hutch is in favor of punching left, that is inaccurate, because even though he would be criticizing people who are to the left of him, ultimately in Hutch's minds, it's to serve the end of the left. And so it can't be considered punching left, because the ultimate purpose is to serve the left. Is that what you're suggesting? I just want to make sure I'm understanding you. And you think that when we were talking about punching left, that like that's not fairly synonymous with criticizing people on the left, punching left? It's this weird semantic argument. Oh, you're technically not criticizing the left if you ultimately want leftism and you think that it's only from a strategic point of view. Like, it's just so stupid. Obviously, when we say punching to the left, we just mean criticizing the left. It's just a stupid interpretation of what we're saying, Timothy Douglas. That when we say punching to the left, that we mean anything beyond just criticizing people on the left. Okay, so now you're just not addressing. I'm just saying that we need to call out when there's baseless attacks against the DNC establishment, as the DNC is the vehicle by which we can keep about progressive leaps. So now I take that as not addressing your point. You said that we were purposely conflating something, and now I don't hear you saying that. Now you're giving some kind of other prescription about protecting the DNC establishment and protecting the DNC. Now I don't hear you to be defending the point that you made earlier, which is about conflation. And so now you're saying, I'm trying to do it with the semantics of punching left or punching right. So now you have your own prescription about doing, so you're no longer accusing me of conflation, right? You started this, and I just want to make sure that people are picking up on this. In real time, this dude is just completely changing everything. Please. You conflate, saying I'm conflating. That we are bad faith. We're bad faith because we're conflating. Are you stepping back from that criticism now? And now you're just making your own prescriptions. You're making your own prescriptions about what words people should use and whether or not we should protect the DNC. So are you abandoning your criticism that we are bad faith and we're conflating stuff? Can you just say, like, now you're just going to ramble on about things you want to see in the world, Timothy Douglas? This is what I'm talking about. Like, these people haven't even given one thought to their critiques. Well, I'm talking here. So I just want you to put in numbered form. Are you saying that we're bad faith? That's one. So one, are you saying that we're being bad faith? If so, how? Two, are you saying that I'm conflating something? If so, how? That's basically all I want to know, because I really don't give a shit about your other prescriptions about, should we say the term punching left, punching right? I don't understand how at all. Like, that's just a stand-in for criticize the left, criticize the right. Like, they're just words. Like, you have a position against using the term punching left? What's the evidence that you have that, like, using that term? No one's rambling. Just no. I want to know specifically, are you saying that we're being bad faith? That you accused Josiah and I of being bad faith? And then number two, you said that we conflated something. And so I want to know if you're, like, sticking by those criticisms. Because why are you wasting my time saying something and not standing by it? And I bet now you're gonna get all in your feelings and like be hurt that I'm reacting this way. Be like, oh shit. This was not good. One second. Oh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do. All right, one sec. Now you're gonna be like, I'm the asshole. I'm the asshole for how I'm reacting. No one's policing. You can say punch right or whatever. It's like, I don't even understand your point. You just said, I'm trying to do away with the semantics of punching left or punching right. And then you just said, no one's policing whether you say punch right or whatever. But again, I'm just going to put it up on screen again. You just said, I am trying to do away with the semantics of punching left and punching right. You're jumping from thing to thing. I don't know what you're saying. You can't make me bad. I'm just trying to I'm trying to clarify too. I actually have no idea what you're trying to say. Thank you so much, Vasraka, for the gifted memberships. You think you can defend this dude's point better than I don't even understand the point. I'm trying to address the point that, like, when someone accuses me of bad faith or conflation, I address it head on. That's what I'm trying to do. We're still waiting for Aaron. I have a hard out at like 5:30. Yeah, I like to be one guide, but it's just to show you, like, I honestly, like, and, you know, appreciate the support, appreciate the fan that you're a fan and like all that stuff, and I do appreciate it. I really do. I just like find it like, damn, these people haven't even thought about it 1%. Is it your position that Hutch thinks it's wrong to punch right as a leftist? No. That's not my position. If you think that's my position, find me a quote of me saying that. It's my position that Hutch thinks that it's wrong to punch right. I've never said that or implied that. What I've said is, do you think that we should focus our time punching left as opposed to punching right? It's a question of like how much time we should spend punching left versus punching right. But I don't think that he's ever. So for example, he's along with me punched to the right to Fetterman, right? He along with me has punched. So it would be preposterous for me to say that Hutch's position is it's wrong to punch right. Where could you have gotten that impression? That my impression is that that's his impression. I just don't understand how anybody who's watching any of our content could think it's my impression that it's Hutch's impression that it's wrong to punch right. At most, this is a disagreement about like how much time we spend on one versus the other. So I truly don't know what you're talking about and where you got this impression. You know, we criticize a lot of these, and he even says, right? Like he even says, oh my God. He even says that he's okay criticizing like Manchin and these other people if it would have an effect. I know I'm getting baited into it, but it's just like, for me, it's just an opportunity to show like the level of just misapprehension, the level of delusion of people hearing things that haven't been said, pretending there are arguments that aren't being had. It's always just no specifics, no quotes, no specifics, no quotes, no specifics, no quotes, over and over and over. That's all it is. And so now I'm not hearing you defend the position that we are being bad faith because we attribute to Hutch the position that it's wrong to punch right. Timothy Douglas. And if you would step away from that position, I would want an apology from that. Right. So it's my point that a leftist attacking AOC or establishment deb shouldn't even be labeled punching. Okay. So you're now, I want to be clear about something. You are changing the conversation. You're now talking about your view, right? So I'm trying to make this as clear as possible. Maybe I'll have to draw it out. I actually will draw it out because that's, so over here is your view, what you think. What you think. Okay, you think a random thing. But that wasn't your initial point. Your point was something that we thought and said, right? These are not equal, right? What you think about what we should do isn't your claim. Your claim is about something we said. And then you said, didn't you say that Hutch said that it would be wrong to punch right? And I said, of course not. That's stupid. And then instead of address how you had thought that we said that, you just went to go to talk about some random thing you said or think. Do you understand how bizarre, how scattered this thought process is? I believe near the end of your convo with Hutch, Josiah implies that Hutch gets upset at a perceived punching right by leftists. I don't know what you're talking about. I certainly never said that. Find the quote. Okay. I don't have the exact timestamp. Yeah, I don't know. But as you sit here, you say that you think that Josiah implied that Hutch gets upset at perceived punching right by lefties. Well, he does get upset. Hang on. That's a different claim. He got upset at lefties punching to the right of AOC. But him saying he got upset isn't the same thing as us saying that he thinks it's wrong to punch to the right all the time. The fact that he got upset at one example of punching to the right on AOC isn't the same as like the opinion where Hutch is like principally against punching right. I don't even know. Like, this is so stupid. This is not why people are upset. I don't think anyone got this from that conversation. People are upset because of personalities, grievance, unrelated to the actual discussion. Totally unrelated to the actual discussion. This is a proxy. This is a proxy, complete proxy for feelings of disgruntlement related to other personal things and related to Hassan and related to lefties in general. Has nothing to do with a conversation about strategy. That is all this is. And if anyone can elaborate, like I said, something beyond the strategic discussion, they're welcome to do so. Okay. Anyway, back to this little opinion. But we're done with that. I'm going to focus my time attacking the right. That's why I'm going to Chimple tomorrow. And we'll be appearing to discuss whether Trump is still winning. Whether Trump is winning. Holy crap. Okay. I think you all just had a hard time actually arguing against Hutch. How was he wrong about the Biden effect? I'm going to point you back to all of our conversation. I think I do need to write it out. So one are like the specifics. So this is mansion, cinema, all that stuff. And then two is the notion that Biden needs to look like he's giving a shit more than he is. We grant all of these little specifics that you weren't going to be capable of getting Manchin to sign up for some of these Biden agenda pieces, like $15 minimum wage, which is a Biden agenda piece. The problem is bad faith actors continue to pretend. I say it 10 times. We grant the Manchin point. 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 This second point is, could Biden have significantly looked like he was giving a shit more than he was? Did he materially leave cards on the table for the American people vis-a-vis his agenda? Now, you can either say, yes, he did, in ways that were obvious, or no, he didn't. My position on this is, yes, he did. That's the real disagreement, right? Like, there's no disagreement on this Manchin stuff. I'm glad you admit that attacking establishment Dems is okay. So this is why Timothy Douglas. All right. So I'm going to now be much meaner to Timothy Douglas. So sorry, Tim, but unfortunately, when you get called out like this, you run the risk of me being much meaner. This is a person who, at least in this moment, I'm not saying overly, is like incredibly stupid. Find me anywhere in this previous 30 minutes where I said or implied that lefties attacking establishment Dems is, quote, disastrous, where I said or even implied it. In fact, I think it's really good when lefties attack certain establishment figures, like, for example, Chuck Schumer, like, for example, John Fetterman. So you haven't been listening. And I think, Timothy, I'm just going to be real, you lack the ability to listen and to actually hear what's being said, right? Only someone who is stupid, only someone who's unable to listen would have gathered from what I just said that I think it's, quote unquote, disastrous for the leftists to be attacking Dems, establishment Dems. Sometimes it's disastrous and sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's disastrous when people were going hard against Biden when they were being wrong about it. But sometimes it's absolutely based and correct. Like when they're attacking Fetterman, when they're attacking Schumer, when they're attacking Jeffries. So AOC's establishment Dems should, and again, usually, by the way, AOC is not considered a member of the establishment Dems. So this guy has donkey brains. Donkey brains. At no point did I say it's disastrous. In fact, right now, what is the party approval of the quote-unquote establishment Democrats? 19% among Americans? Something crazy like that? The leadership of the Democrats, if you just look at my newsletter, new issue coming out soon, at least the initial ones, right? I target Dems specifically because they're weak.
Are you done scolding your chat?
Yeah. Oh, whoa, you scared the fuck out of me. Hey, what's up?
We've been listening to you like.
You've been in the how long have you been in there?
For several minutes.
How long have you been in there?
You were addressing down a chatter. It didn't feel right to interrupt. If you see a
Whoa.
mom like spanking her son in the middle of the supermarket and you need her to get out of the way, are you gonna interrupt that? No. You just let her continue.
Maybe I will. Yo. What's good? What's good? How you doing?
I'm so ready to loop on
We're not doing that.
Biden's
We're not doing that.
strategy.
We're not doing that anymore.
People feeling abandoned.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
You were just in the middle of doing that.
That was I was waiting for
in.
you. You took forever to get ready, but I'm glad you're ready now.
So in your spare time, you just loop on that again.
I was specifically, that was the last loop. That was the very last loop. Yeah.
Sure.
And we were looking at a case and that was the last loop. And you caught me. I didn't know that you were there for that long. Like, were you there for a couple minutes?
I mean, I'm always in your head, dude. I'm constantly mind controlling
Chill.
you. You're a
Chill.
loyal disciple.
Chill.
And so you really don't even need to know whether I'm in the Discord or not. I am just always around.
You're really trying to promote these memes of mind control.
It's not me. You're having debates with people that think it's important to emphasize this point over and over again.
Yeah. Well, they didn't mention your name, but it needs to be all about
Connor
you.
Did. Counterpoints.
Who?
Counterpoints?
Oh, Counterpoints did.
Yeah.
And yeah. What'd you think of that conversation?
It's typical.
What do you think of Connor?
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was the greatest piece of content I've seen all week.
He has very fascist aesthetics.
How do you mean?
He likes Warcraft. Minecraft? What is it?
Warhammer.
Warhammer. Nice. How'd you know that?
But I know things. But you're referencing like Star Wars prequels.
Yeah, that was
to like try to get through to him. How'd that go?
That's a nice tactical meme, tactical strategy. Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Connor's a class act, but he does have fascist aesthetics.
Moral lessons from the Star Wars prequels.
What is the best moral lesson from Star Wars? Probably to trust your instinct.
Is that a lesson from Star Wars?
Yeah, trust the Force, use the Force.
I don't find that the Force is like not intuitive, no? It's been years since I've watched like the originals.
You don't remember Star Wars?
No,
I think the Force is intuitive.
not really. I've seen like the newer ones, like the Force Awakens and all that, and like Rogue One multiple times, but I've only ever seen the originals like once each.
You've only
They
seen
are
like
not
New Hope
very good.
once. You don't like the originals?
No, I think the reason why they're lauded so much critically is more has to like more to do with nostalgia than it is actually to do with how amazing the story is or anything like that. The second one's good. The third one is really bad. I did not know that the third one is so bad.
Return of the Jedi? Are you talking about the prequels or are you talking about the originals?
No, the OG one.
So you mean Return of the Jedi, the one with the Ewoks? You didn't like that one?
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
Do you like when they go, tee? That's Jawas.
Amazing Jawa's impression. The Force is not an instinct; it's trained. I'm crashing out. Okay, I was right. It's not. That is not what the point is that you said you're supposed to trust your instinct, and that is never.
Why did George
a lesson
Lucas
that's
put all
demonstrated
these
in
like?
those movies at
Why
any
did
point.
why did George Lucas put all of these like racial stereotypes in his movies?
I don't know. What? Because people like you enjoy them, right? Probably to pander to racist movie viewers like you, like yourself.
like me?
Yeah.
Need I remind you that I'm Latinx?
So you can't be racist?
I can be racist, but I think that, well, not, logically I can be racist. There's no logical contradiction entailed
Okay.
in me being racist. Of course, I
Right,
would never
continue.
be. I would never be racist. I would never say something so horrible to take like a Chinese person or do like a Chinese impression like those guys from the Trade Federation. Remember the Trade Federation?
Can you do it right now? Because I don't know what you're talking about.
I was not aware of such failure. That's my Trade Federation impression.
Okay.
It's not
And
Chinese
that
though.
wasn't racist.
No,
That
it was.
wasn't racist.
It's me doing a Trade Federation viceroy impression. Yeah. Hunter Biden
Lame.
had some dealings with Chinese people. Did you know that?
That's what I guess we're gonna find out.
our,
Wait, really quick, did you
yeah.
see that like Clay Higgins trying to pretend like everybody voted no when they were voting yes to release the
Epstein?
like the Epstein files? Because they did like an oral
can
vote,
you-
and it's clearly like you can hear the nays over the yays. There's like or like the yays over the nays and one or the other, and he pretends like, okay, the no's have it, so it's not being released.
Oh,
And
when
that's
it was
after he had
8 to
already tried
2.
to call a recess. So after he had already tried
There's
to call
some
a
shit in
recess
there.
to
There's some
delay it.
shit in there. It's got to be some shit like a picture of Trump with like a 16-year-old, or maybe it's Trump like a picture of him doing some kind of lewd or like wearing makeup. Do you think Trump is gay?
No, but I have long said that he embodies every single negative stereotype that is frequently attributed to gay men, and yet he is straight.
Hatred of women.
Hatred of women. He's extremely catty. He is a queenie little bitch. He's very he like rambles a lot. Like he's very very flamboyant also.
Yeah, he's
And
super
yet he is like
flamboyant.
hailed as like peak masculinity. Oh, he's also very promiscuous. All of his like wives and like side
These are all
deals or
gay
whatever.
stereotypes.
Yes.
Yeah. Of course.
But
Stereotypes.
nonetheless, he is very very straight.
You think he's very straight?
Yeah, a little too straight.
I heard that Epstein also trafficked at least one boy. Is that? Do you think that's true?
I mean, if he was a pedophile, isn't there research showing that pedophiles actually don't have
Whoa,
preference?
whoa,
for,
whoa, whoa,
like,
whoa! I thought you were gonna say that gay people are more likely, but no, I appreciate that
No,
you.
I was
yeah.
gonna say that like I'm pretty sure they found that like pedophiles are actually they are not usually attracted to one specific gender. It's just the
It's the
prepubescence.
power. Oh, it's the prepubescence.
It's a prepubescent, so it doesn't even, it like almost transcends the sexuality in the sense that they exclusively care about that. So if there are men that are abusing little boys, it's like they're doing it in spite of the fact that they actually don't find themselves attracted to boys typically, but because it's about like access as well, because you gotta just abuse who is around you.
What do you think of that answer from Jeffrey Epstein? Have you and Donald Trump ever hung around people under the age of 18? And he says,
I would love to answer that.
I'd love to answer that question, but
I love it. Love to.
I'll invoke my rights for now. Like, that's kind of a weird way to put it, Donald.
There was also Midas Touch like resurfaced that. It wasn't anything
Yeah,
new.
it wasn't
but
new.
They found a clip of him saying, "If you are somebody who pleads the fifth, then
You're
probably
guilty.
guilty."
Yeah. Oh.
So what would you say about Epstein pleading? He said the fifth, the 14th, and
And the 6th.
What other? Okay, and the 6th.
Yeah, because the
All
6th,
relevant.
they are relevant. The Sixth Amendment is relevant because there's a point at which post indictment, there are limitations on the ability of the state to like interview you and things and do certain custodial interrogations. That's your Sixth Amendment right to counsel. So yeah, the Sixth Amendment actually is very, very relevant. This was 2010, so it was post indictment or post information.
Can't you just answer like I don't want to answer any of these questions during
Yeah,
your deposition and plead the fifth?
Yeah, you can. Well,
Shouldn't you
sorry.
have just done
Well, think about it this way, right? Like, I actually don't know what matter this was. I'm assuming this is a civil matter, civil deposition. You can definitely plead the fifth, plead the 14th, 100%. But the sixth, it just covers you a little bit extra in case this were considered like some, court somewhere thought, oh, because this is post indictment, then it's not Fifth Amendment because it the right to counsel under the Sixth Amendment already attached. So he's just covering his bases. I think that it's fine to do it. Enigma's never
It's strange
aged.
that they would answer any questions.
Huh?
It's strange that he would answer any questions.
Well, he has to answer some questions. It's a deposition.
Well, that's what I was asking you. You can't plead the fifth for every single question that they ask.
No, only questions that might reasonably incriminate you.
Oh, that's entirely subjective.
A little bit subjective.
Every single question, are they not asking in the service of attempting to build a case against you, the strongest possible case, and they will use your words against you? You're just going to talk yourself into guilt. I would just shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I'd say
so
the whole time, plead the fifth, just pleading the fifth.
there's
in my
interesting
opinion.
doctrines about like if there are parallel civil case and criminal case, but you typically have an obligation to provide testimony during a deposition, and there's doctrines about like what would reasonably constitute self-incrimination or potentially open yourself up for that, but it doesn't apply to absolutely everything.
So can you be held in contempt if you attempt to invoke the fifth too many times?
It's not about the numerosity of it. It's about whether it's appropriate given the circumstances.
Who determines that?
The judge. You'll go back to the
In a
judge and
deposition?
yeah, you'll pause it. Usually, like there'll be, if you're sort of doing requests for production, if you're doing depositions and stuff, there'll be a scope of questioning that is agreed to or understood by the parties relevant to the case. There's not a judge sitting in the deposition. These are all like done by the parties. And if there's a big disagreement, you can go back to the judge and be like, hey, we had this deposition on this day. He refused to answer these questions. And then there could be a motion to compel or something like that.
I guess if you refuse to give details that wouldn't reasonably indict you or
Wouldn't subject you
Like-
to, right, yeah.
to some sort of penalty, then they charge you with what, like contempt or obstruction of justice, or
Not the first, like, this is, if you're just having a disagreement between the parties about, like, there'll usually be motion practice on this, and there'll be like a motion to compel, and there'll be, a brief in favor, a brief against, a reply brief. They'll go back and forth. Okay, you have to answer stuff related to this and this, but not this and that. And then, redo the deposition or do the deposition for these questions or send in some rogs that you can respond to.
I'm guessing even if you did try to invoke the fifth every single time, that a smart lawyer wouldn't actually advise you to do that entirely frequently, actually, now that I think about it, because if it goes before a jury, probably doesn't look very favorable to a jury that you're refusing to cooperate in any way, shape, or form, that you're just stonewalling the entire time. And then that in and of itself ends up being used against you, whether that's right or wrong.
Yeah, so you can, in the civil context, you can, I believe you can take the decision to invoke as like a negative inference in certain circumstances. I think that you are allowed, again, your mileage may vary, your jurisdiction may vary in terms of their rules, but constitutionally, I think that you are allowed to take a negative inference for invoking your rights in the civil context, but not the criminal.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Don't you think it's cool sometimes to like collab with someone who's a lawyer and knows some of these things?
It's okay.
It's okay.
All right.
It's all right. What's up with you today, huh?
Dude, this Hunter Biden shit is crazy.
shit.
I was also looking at because love PBD is just like a gold mine of right wing
Yeah, he
content
is.
to react to, and they had Sean Hannity on, and let me actually show you really quick.
Yeah, show me.
How Sean Hannity is spinning this Epstein shit. And he's like cool as a fucking cucumber. He is not worried like whatsoever.
He's
or at
seasoned.
least he
He's
is
seasoned
good
for
at,
sure,
at
yeah.
giving the impression that there's nothing to worry about, you guys. Like Trump
He's
is,
got
like,
the program
totally...
downloaded. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Let me share my screen.
Share it. How's the Straighter Aid audience? Oh shit.
10 out of 10.
Love it. All right, let's see what PBD has to say.
Okay. This is... And we're here to see what Hannity has to say. We already know what PBD is going to say. PBD has actually criticized him on this, but
They
not
have, they
because
have.
he's like not calling him out for, you know, obstruction of justice or like potential or like obstructing justice or bringing to light this scandal or whatever. It's like that's a strategic error. He's very
Yeah,
clear
it's
to be like it's like from a business perspective. That's
This
not
doesn't
how
make sense
you-
from a business perspective. You
Yes.
shouldn't be talking shit about your audience because it makes you look bad. It's those kinds of totally agree.
He's like, this is not how you bullshit the base, dude.
Yeah.
I'm very disappointed in you.
All the research, all the reading. I just immerse myself 5 days a week, and that's pretty much all I do, you know, in one capacity or another.
Well, you mind if we get into stories? Because
No, whatever. I don't care. Wait, it's your podcast. I'm just a guest
Well,
here.
listen, if you say that, then I'm going to get into real stories. I'm just telling you because you happen to be in a very, strange place that I don't even know if you can speak on the story or not. Because on one end, you work for Fox News.
I do.
Okay, and you've been there for
30 years.
30 years in
Insane.
October.
And
Long
you're-
time.
you're-
Thank you. Somebody has a memory here.
Let's go.
And 30 years with Fox News. On the other end, you have a very good relationship with the president, President Trump.
I do.
And so you're kind of in the middle of the thing where last week, I'm not sure if you can speak on it or not. Obviously, we're going to open up with the story because it's you, Fox, Trump, and we've been talking about this whole Epstein thing for a minute. Trump, while everyone's talking about everything that's going on, you post this message last week on all the victories that most people are not looking. They're overlooking. Rob, if you can play this clip real quick, and you're going to react to yourself real quick. Go ahead, Rob.
Oh, an ugly guy. That I have been a longtime friend and supporter. We've been very transparent of President Trump. But even I am frankly amazed at what he has been able to do against all odds in such a very short
Blazing.
period of
Blaze.
time. What we're living through, you better take, really close notes because you most likely will never see this again in your lifetime. The single most consequential, transformational presidency in our lifetime. And without a doubt,
I don't know
the
that I
underlying
disagree with
theme of
that.
The White House, promises made, right? Promises.
Yeah, just
There are a lot of
it just holds
consequences.
a very, very different connotation when you say it, though.
Yeah, I know. I just want to say that I agree with Sean Hannity here. There are a lot of consequences that have happened as a result of what Trump has done. Very consequential. Hopefully,
he
we'll
looks
never
at,
see
like,
it.
The raping and gutting of the federal administrative state, and he's just like stunning work
Consequential.
here.
This is
President
good
Trump,
shit.
Commander-in-Chief Trump.
It's
This
like
is amazing stuff.
It would be like, listen, I don't know if you're ever gonna have kids. I don't know anything like this, but if you were to ever have kids, and like let's say that Lycan has his collection of like priceless Lord of the Rings originals. I don't know what these originals would entail, and all of a sudden the kid just starts destroying those like priceless heirlooms, and you're just, wow, really great work here, Lycan Jr. Really
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, no, yeah, it's very consequential. We've never had such a baby with such consequences before.
If the choice was between me having Lycan's child
Oh no.
and not, but it has to be named Lycan Jr., I'm just not gonna have kids. Don't ever say that again,
Lycan
dude.
Jr.?
Don't ever say that shit again.
I
Lycan
think
Jr., no.
I think it's a pretty cool name. Lycan
I'm not
Jr.
condemning my child to a life of being
Lycan Jr.
Lycan Jr., no.
Okay. All right.
Is kept.
Okay, so the different victories that he's had, President Trump, we've seen him. We followed very closely on what he's done.
He ends up with saying promises made, promises kept, and honestly, again, that's correct. All of these morons that supported Trump's re-election for 2024 and are like, what is he doing?
What the
This
hell?
is not what I voted for. No, Sean Hannity is correct. Promises made, promises kept. This was all shit that he said he intended to do out in the open. Did you, like, this is not even getting into, like, oh, you could have looked at his first administration. No, just the promises that he was making on the campaign trail. The things he was saying he was going to do, that he wanted to do behind doors that was getting reported, and Project 2025. All of this is happening. It wasn't a secret. They didn't try to pretend people like it was going to be anything else.
The promises that I keep them to. So I will often say that Trump broke all of his promises. But really what I mean there is his promises to make the economy better and to keep prices down. That's what I mean. But everything else, pretty much, yeah, promises made, promises kept. He definitely promised to fuck shit up, and he's doing it. Tariffs, another big one. Remember when people were like, I don't know if you saw there's one Twitter account who's like, you guys, this 10% tariff thing, this is bullshit. He's never actually going to do it. I'm like, my guy, he's doing it. And even when they actually did like the retaliatory tariffs and they did the whole whatever day, yeah, he was like, this is just posturing to get more free trade. And now where we are, like, I think we got 2-3 deals or like outlines of deals that have been announced, and we still have that like baseline 10%. That shit is sticking around. That shit is happening.
Yep. The other thing is that like all of those were deemed illegal. There was like a trade court in the federal trade court that said you can't do this. You cannot declare a state of emergency. The emergency being that you don't like the amount of immigration that's happened in the last few years or is currently happening, and use that as a pretext to launch all of these sorts of like market interferences with the tariff rates and all of that.
I think the injunction has been stayed, but I'll have to look at the briefing there. I think it should go to Supreme Court.
They immediately like appealed it. They said they weren't going to be like paying attention to the court, no shit. And then there was actually another ruling that said that like some of them can stay or something like that. There was an update, like you're saying, where like
I should have
some way around it.
I should look at it. I should update that. Yeah.
Releases a story last week. I want to say, is it last week? Tuesday? Yeah, last week.
But also, what people don't realize is like if you lower something 10%, right, and you raise it 10% again, you did not actually restore it mathematically. It would have to be higher to get back to where it was.
Art of the deal.
Letter that the president got or wrote to Epstein at his 50th birthday party, I believe. And Rob, if you tell me what letter this page is on, Trump says, okay, calls a release. Okay, I'm saying Trump. Okay.
Enigmas never age.
Is that page 5? Trump sued Wall Street Journal, Rupert Murdoch, over the Epstein letter. Okay. And as you go through the letter, most people are saying this is not true. Most people are saying this is not a real story. Most people are saying he's not doing this. He's not doodling. Well, he does doodle. No, he doesn't doodle. My father would never write this. Everyone's going back and forth because this Epstein thing became, in my opinion, I've said it on Jesse, I've said it on many different places, it was a fumble. I don't think it was handled properly. Promises were made. Promises were not kept when it comes down to this specific topic. And I rated a lot of different people. And he's over the years said a lot of bad things about Epstein on camera. He said, here's a guy that, did he kill himself? Did he not kill himself?
He's also said a lot of very, very nice things.
Did this happen? Did that not happen? Who knows what happened? We got to get to the bottom of it. And you're in the middle. How do you manage for you? You go to work. Your friend is Trump, President Trump, for many years. And your boss is Rupert Murdoch.
Bro, this guy loves the sound of his own voice.
Now he is suing your boss for $10 billion. How do you manage that?
It's easy. I just always tell the truth. It's not really that complicated. I
news correspondent talking about how truthful he is.
I don't even have getting mad at Sean Hannity. That is like so 2008. I don't even know that I have it in my body anymore to be upset with Sean Hannity on anything.
Like elder abuse or what?
I see Sean Hannity and thinking anything negative about Sean Hannity, or like it's not thinking negative. It's like getting all riled up at obvious hypocrisies. It just reminds me of where I was when I was in like 2008, 2009. Like I just am not that person anymore. I don't have it in me to get really upset at Sean Hannity.
He doesn't get you worked up.
He doesn't.
Like,
no.
He's like a fascist on Ambien.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
Just very, very like he's so relaxed when he is just feeding you monumental North Korea level lies.
I'm just like, okay, let him.
Just in your
let him lie.
Let him. And then after that, it's like, all right, off to bed, Grandpa.
He's looking older. I have to acknowledge that he's looking not so good.
All of these people,
not so good. Yeah,
visibly aged.
Yeah,
like Bill O'Reilly probably. He looks like gaunt. You know,
Bill O'Reilly looks better.
He's not looking good.
I'm just kidding.
What do people keep saying? No. There were multiple people in my chat that said
he's definitely skinnier.
Yeah, he took Ozempic or something, and he got Ozempic face.
Have you seen, by the way, Mike Pompeo? Bring on Mike. Hey, Bill, bring up Mike Pompeo on Grok. No, just like bring up before after Mike Pompeo. Richard Hanania had the funniest tweet.
Oh wow.
Wait, we can't see it. We can't see it.
Well, I'm opening it in a new tab. Hold on. Oh my god, could it be any smaller? Could it be any smaller?
Like Richard Hanania tweeted.
Why is this so small?
Mike Pompeo OD'd on Ozempic.
Jesus, he really, really liked that drug.
He's gonna run for
Oh my
president.
God. I wouldn't have recognized him if you just showed me the photo on the right.
Yeah, you would be like, "Who's that? Who's that pedophile? Is that guy with Epstein?
Whoa.
Whoa! Sorry, my bad. I mean, who's that guy with a shirt?
What about this reminds you of a pedo?
It's just, it's a joke. He just has a weird look on his face. You don't think he has a weird
sometimes
look?
you get a weird look on your face. Can I say that you're looking like a pedophile?
It's Mike Pompeo.
The pedo stare?
What's the
Pisco
pedo
pedo
stare? What's the Pisco pedo stare? Why did you
What
say
were just
that?
doing.
What was I doing? This?
Because you called this American patriot a pedophile just because he lost weight and he looks different and you're intimidated. He's probably skinnier than you as far as like body fat percentage or whatever.
Maybe.
Okay? I know where this is coming from.
Listen, it is coming to ultimately from a place of.
You think
of
you're better
affection.
than him because you didn't you're losing weight the natural way.
I am
you know,
losing it the natural way.
And not through Ozempic.
And by natural way, I mean I'm lifting. But you think it looks like Pompeo's lifting too. But also lifting doesn't necessarily lose weight.
Lifting's not gonna help
Yeah,
you lose weight.
but I'm doing cardio as well. Why does this become a conversation about my weight loss journey?
Because it was really important to you to say that he looked like a pedophile.
No, I just think it's funny. We were like examining these contributors, and now you're taking all this shit. You're talking all this shit about me.
I'm not the one who said that somebody looked like a fucking pedophile.
So you're defending who is this guy to you? Who is he to you?
An American
This is Pompeo.
hero.
This is nothing to you. By the way, Ozempic is not wrong to do. This is a life-saving drug.
Okay, why aren't you on it then? You joining Rob Noor in the boycott? You're so brave for that.
I'm saying it's a life-saving drug. How is that a boycott?
Well, you don't take it though.
I don't take Ozempic,
Yes, you don't. We know.
but
So-
but it's a life-saving drug. There's nothing inconsistent about that.
A company that lets me be me. And honestly, that is rare in broadcasting. You're
Can you fix it so it
independent,
doesn't
you make your
lag?
own decisions, right? But
I don't know what you're complaining about. What?
There you go. Press play. You got to keep your cursor on it.
for the most part, I make my own decisions. I don't have these handcuffs on that maybe some other people at other networks do. What I do for a living is I am a member of the press, right?
I'm a
I can produce
journalist.
thousands of hours of straight news coverage, radio and TV over my career. I can produce thousands of hours of investigative reporting. I can produce thousands of hours of opinion, but I'm upfront. I'm honest. I am a conservative. I don't hide the fact that I support Donald Trump. I can produce thousands of hours.
Did you know he did a dating site, a conservative dating site, not long, like
What was it
several
called?
Years ago? Hannah Date.
Hannah Date?
Yeah.
What's the average age on that app? 80?
It has to be pushing 45 plus.
I love how he has to do this big virtue signal too at the start of his like, I have sucked Donald Trump off on my news program for the past 20 years. No one has sucked him off more than me. Like,
Okay, 10 years. The other 10 were for George Bush. Okay?
True.
And hating on Obama, that can't be discredited. But I do remember him saying when he was talking about Hannah Date that he really likes to pressure people to propose to their girlfriends, like men. And that he's like, one time I did it in front of Ted Cruz. Could you imagine? Like,
He pushed someone
you're
to.
out.
Oh, and
Yes,
he
he pushed somebody to engage, like to propose to their girlfriend right there, and he was like, Ted Cruz was with me.
Can you imagine that being your story? We
Could
were.
you? Like you meet Hannity, Ted Cruz is right there. Then all of a sudden, before you know, he's like, "Hey, get on your knees and make an honest woman out of Joe right over here, out of Silly Serious, right now." And you propose to Silly Serious in front of Ted Cruz. That's quite a story.
It's unthinkable.
Radio and TV topics on culture and sports and anything else that's going on in the world. So I just find it interesting. Whenever people, I find for myself, when people start getting really loud and emotional and rushing to judgment, I have this reaction. I pull back. You know, one of the things, my first
All right, now
thought
I'm starting to
is,
get mad,
on
Aaron,
the
because
Epstein
he's
files
like,
is-
he's like, everyone's jumping to conclusions and moving.
You're spreading fascist propaganda. You're spreading
whoa,
election lies.
whoa, everyone just chill. Let's everyone just chill. Like, I like to, I'm a reporter. I like to take a step back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Dude.
I'm just saying that vaccines cause autism. There's no need to blow a gasket. People, calm down, okay?
if there was something so damning in there about Donald Trump, and
Wouldn't they
the
have used it?
weaponized Department of Justice of Joe Biden had it, Does anyone here doubt they would have released it?
Just one, Sean, if they're all on it too. If Bill Clinton and all that group is in there, they're like, we really want to, but we can't because...
You can only name Bill Clinton. I can't think of any other Democrat that was named on it, except for like there's lots of Democrats that have ties to Jeffrey Epstein. But as far as actually being named on like the flight logs, I can only think of Bill Clinton.
Is there another one that I mean, like, and also, can I just be honest? And we'll get into this as something I hope with the Hunter Biden stuff. The FBI does not love Clinton, and they don't love Joe Biden or his family. All right, these people
they're huge fans.
They're huge. No, they don't like them. They love them. No, but they fucked over Clinton's campaign with the email investigation, and Bill Barr like created a whole little funnel system to launder claims against Hunter Biden, specifically in the DOJ, and so they had no problem doing that. And so it's just the notion that they would be protecting these people.
Didn't Bill Barr recuse himself, and that's why the Mueller
Sessions.
report was, it was Sessions.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Because we're in with him.
Because I was like, isn't there a reason why he's like on a shit list still? Like,
Yeah, he's only on the shit list. He's only on the shit list because he said that the election wasn't stolen in 2020 because it wasn't.
Well, yeah, but he went on CNN and told Caitlin Collins when she brought that up. She was like, okay, did he succeed though? No, then stop crying. Pretty much.
Oh, you mean after? Yeah.
Yeah, afterwards. When she was like, why are you supporting him if you didn't support like the election lies and all of that? And he was like, well, he didn't succeed, right? So fuck it.
A lot of people actually say that in these debates. They're like, oh, well, you know, we still have a country, don't we?
Yeah,
that's the standard.
Not thanks to Republicans.
That's the standard.
Oh, well, there's also that, but it's like... it's
not for lack of trying. Yeah, I know.
It's not like he burned down the country. Why not give him another chance?
They could have selectively leaked, though. I mean, they're more sophisticated than that.
True, but then
right?
the investigation opens up, Sean. But I see where you're coming from, but that's what it felt like to the I'm just like you. I love the president. I love what he's doing. Pat mentioned that he stumbled, but that's the one thing that hit me in my head where I'm like, maybe, I'm not saying he's definitely on it, but I mean, he knew the guy.
Just to preface this with, I love the president. I love what he's doing.
I love him so
what's happening
much.
here, folks,
I love you
don't
so
we?
much. But unironically, you laugh at that, Aaron. That's what everyone wants me to do every time I criticize the Bidens, no matter what. I actually do it because I'm a little bit of a cuck. I'm like,
criticize the Bidens, criticize Live and Learn co-hosts.
Guys, no one supports the president more than I did. I just supported, but like, yeah, no, that is what the people want. If you don't say that, they have a little revolting chat. Oh my God,
I give into that.
I shouldn't. You're right.
That's
I shouldn't.
weak.
You're right. I shouldn't. Don't say it's pathetic. All right.
It is pathetic.
You do pathetic things too.
You know, it gets you like no good.
What's that unicorn? Pick up that unicorn.
Unicorn.
Is there a unicorn?
Where?
Behind you.
There's like a million things behind me. What?
To your left.
That?
Wait, what is that?
It's a cow.
Looks like a unicorn.
No, it doesn't.
Search
It's
unicorn.
like the horn. The thing, that little thing poking out is like the horn.
Search unicorn. Search inflatable unicorn.
Do you search this a lot in your spare time?
Compare.
That looks nothing alike, dumbass. This
Compare.
only works against you.
Compare.
There's even what?
Compare.
Okay, you're too scared to buck chat, but you'll double down on this nonsense. Okay.
This is what I'm seeing.
There are unicorn squishmallows. It doesn't look like that. This looks nothing like what's behind me. You can see like there's like no lashes or whatever. Like you would see the horn.
Okay, get back to the interview. Just press play.
This was your tangent to go down. You chose this.
Wait, what did I say?
You said grab the unicorn or something.
Oh, okay. Press play.
Doing anything to pivot because I called you pathetic.
You're pathetic.
Guy, maybe there.
Yeah, you think that reverse Uno is gonna work on me? I'm not the one who caveats every single criticism that I make to appease chatters that are never gonna be happy.
I'm not the one. Hang on. No, I can't say that. Hang on, let me think.
Oh, you can? What? You were so brave. 2 seconds. I thought you're not pathetic, so a not pathetic person would just say it straight to my face, whatever it was you're like cooking up in there. In your little noggin.
My little noggin?
Yeah.
You thought that Bill Barr recused himself. That's how much you know. And you came at me, by the way. You were like, oh, you need to read more about the Russia investigation before you debate these people. You know who the fuck you're talking to? You know who the fuck you're talking about? You know who I am. Have some respect on my name. You're pathetic. You think you know more than you do. That's your problem. And you can never admit when you're wrong. Unless
This is like a little kid trying to lie. A little kid caught in a lie, and they're just like
You're
can
like
see,
20.
the
You're like 20.
The little kid gears
You-
like turning in your head,
You
attempting
don't know
to like,
anything.
how do I salvage this?
You don't know anything. I sound like I have a cold. Why are you? Why is my chat on your side? Pisco is a little pathetic on some issues, says Corey Pelsman. Jesus Christ!
Merrick Garland, I hear.
Is that in your chat?
No, because my chat's not full of fucking nerds. Okay, they're not bringing up, and they're not
Your
up to
chat
date on
is
like
filled with
Pisco
nerds.
lore. No, chat's full of cool people.
Who is your
All right,
audience?
quiet, we're watching.
No, who's your audience? Who's your target audience?
Communists, socialists, leftists, and liberals that will listen to me.
And
Also a lot of liberals.
I'm filled with fucking nerds. You guys all reading books, all reading fucking literature. You guys, none of you guys are union
You
workers.
were telling Connor that the leftists have Riz and that they get more views than
Yeah,
you.
that didn't mean you.
So shut
that
the
didn't
fuck
mean you.
up.
That didn't mean you.
Know
that
your
didn't mean.
place.
That didn't mean you.
You
that
already
didn't mean you.
admitted that
that
you
didn't mean,
don't
not
have
you.
the
Not you.
juice
Not
to
you.
compare it to you to even hold a
You don't
candle
have it.
to
Whatever.
other
Whatever
leftist
it is.
creators.
Whatever it is. You don't have it. I was talking about Crystal and Kyle. That's who I was talking about. You. Who are you? Who are you to say these things to me? You are nothing. You're a
I'm your
flea.
podcast co-host.
I guess. You're pathetic. Press play.
Well, masculinity asserted.
There we go.
All on it. They're all on it as well.
Okay,
they don't
so
wanna
add
go-
one more piece to the puzzle, right? Because to me, it's a puzzle. People trying to put it together. 20 plus years ago, he threw his ass out of Mar-a-Lago. Okay, now you got something on somebody. You're going to throw him out of your club in a spectacular fashion and embarrass the hell out of the guy, and not expect that that guy's going to come back at you with information if he had it. I don't know. That's hard for me to believe. Let me backtrack a hair and how my brain works and the way I approach things. You want the long version or the short one?
What I want to know is if there's anyone qualified.
I have a long
to-
version.
No, give me. You're 30 years you've been in this business. You're in New York. You come to Florida a lot.
No,
You're
I
a
live
lot-
in Florida. I'm done.
I know.
I'm out of New York.
I saw that in May
Free
when you
state
made
of
that.
Florida.
Yeah, freaking. Well, you're welcome. We did the same thing. We left California. We lived in Dallas 5 years now. We've been here 4 years. We love it. But the entire your understanding of what's happened with Epstein. You've been in this 30 years. 30 years is a long time ago where stories, 90s, 95 come in and you're hearing stuff about this guy. What is your impression? Is this a bad guy? Is this guy, did this
Epstein?
guy do what he did? Because some people are saying, who knows if he did? Now they're saying,
What
who
a
knows if the story's
question.
right
I
or
know
wrong?
the story.
What a
When he
question.
got kicked out of Mar-a-Lago.
I think it's like, again, he's gonna keep reverting back to like, but he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago
But he
that
kicked
one
him
time,
out.
as if that exonerates him in any way.
Also,
or
do we
that's
have
supposed
proof
to
of
mean
that?
like,
They keep saying that, but I don't see any proof of it. Until I see proof
did
that
Trump kick Epstein out
I want
of
corroboration. I don't just want Trump people saying that. People
I've
say
never heard this.
people say
I
he kicked him out. Well, Trump alleges it, but
If I put kick or
ban
Mar-a-Lago.
him. Yeah, did pull up Grok?
Oh, I should say ban. Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna pull up
Okay.
Grok.
There's no ban. The ban doesn't come up. Lago. Let's see.
Lago. Pull up Grok.
Okay, here. Mr. Trump has never been accused of wrongdoing in connection with the Epstein case and has said he had no idea that Mr. Epstein was abusing young women. In response to a request for comment about the president's history with Epstein, Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, said that Mr. Trump had barred Mr. Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago club for being a creep. Dude, the citation is literally the White House press secretary. It's not an independent verification. It's not anything
going
that
to
anyone
Grok.
said. It's Sean Hannity is literally just repeating what the state, like Trump admin's line on it. These stories are tired and pathetic attempts to distract from all the success of President Trump's administration, she said in a statement. Mr. Trump and Mr. Epstein largely went separate ways after a falling out around 2004, taking drastically different paths, one toward jail and suicide, the other toward further celebrity and the White House.
I'm getting Grok to help me out with this. We'll track down
What is
this
your new
thing.
obsession with Grok? You keep trying to push me to do like Grok investigative journalism.
That's what
while I'm live.
Patrick Bet David does, and he's doing well for himself in terms of his empire.
2.67 million subscribers.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
You can get guests like this and never push back on them. You too can have this sort of media apparatus.
All right, you can press play. I'm tracking it down. Grok is helping me out.
Imagine taking the jail and suicide path. Worst deal of all time, people.
It was because of how he treated young women. That I know for a fact. It wasn't for no reason at all. That the reason he got kicked out was because of his treatment of young women at Mar-a-Lago. Let me backtrack to what I was going to
That only come to light because Epstein ended up being taken to court. Like, I don't know how long these allegations had been floating around.
There have been some floats. I think there was initially. Hang on, Grok. All right. The claim that Donald Trump barred Jeffrey Epstein from Mar-a-Lago stems from multiple sources, including court documents, books by journalists and lawyers involved in Epstein cases, and membership records. While there is no publicly available smoking gun document, like an official ban letter, the accounts are consistent across independent reports and legal filings, pointing to an incident where Epstein allegedly harassed or assaulted an underage girl at the club around 2007. Below, I'll outline the key evidence and sources. Most accounts describe the ban occurring after Epstein hit on, harassed, or sexually assaulted the teenage daughter of a Mar-a-Lago member or employee. The incident reportedly happened months before Epstein's 2008 guilty plea in Florida to state charges involving paying for sexual services from a 14-year-old girl. Interesting. The timing aligns with Epstein's membership being closed in October 2007 as per club records. Bradley Edwards, a lawyer who represented over 70 of Epstein's victims, filed documents in 2011 legal battle stating that Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago because Epstein sexually assaulted an underage girl at the club. This was part of Edwards' broader efforts to hold Epstein accountable, and the claim was used to illustrate Trump's distance from Epstein. Interesting. Bradley Edwards' book, he writes that Trump, in a 2009 conversation, referred him to a Mar-a-Lago manager, Bernd Lemke, for details on the ban, but wouldn't elaborate himself. Edwards confirmed the story involved Epstein hitting on the underage daughter of someone at the club, but noted he couldn't fully verify it as Trump or a manager handled it. Edwards also praised Trump as the only high-profile figure who cooperated fully with his subpoenas, providing helpful information without any indication of wrongdoing on Trump's part. Interesting. Co-authored by the Miami Herald reporters Sarah Blasky, Nicholas Nehma, I don't know these guys. The book cites a Mar-a-Lago member who said that Trump kicked Epstein out of after Epstein harassed the daughter of a member. The authors viewed Mar-a-Lago membership registry spreadsheets from over a decade earlier, which listed Epstein as a dues-paying member with his account marked closed 10/7. This provides tangible evidence of Epstein's membership ending abruptly in 2007, contradicting Trump Organization claims that Epstein was never a member. The book notes the ban was to protect the Trump brand from harm. So it seems like the claim is that it occurred in 2007. And let's see when the indictment dropped of Epstein, or when they knew about the investigation.
Your mic dropped.
Okay, one second. When was Epstein first charged? And Epstein was first publicly charged in July 2006. Interesting. So it seems like Trump
Even if that happened, he did it
after he was charged, and after they had a falling out in 2004. So I don't know. Seems pretty convenient to say, well, because he was kicked out in 2007, in a way.
Yeah, he's so altruistic.
Yeah,
He's such a like a moral man for doing this, standing up for his for like young women that were being sexually assaulted.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I'm glad we tracked that down, Aaron.
Grok
helped me and get the sources. I got the sources.
I'm going to say. So I was a local radio host before I started at Fox in Atlanta. First, I spent 5 years in Santa Barbara, California. I went to Huntsville, Alabama. Was paid $19,000 a year, but I loved what I was doing. I loved being behind this microphone. Then I got a promotion to a big market, Atlanta. I was there from 92 to 96. I can get you the year and edition of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. 1996 was a great year. The Olympics came and Sean Hannity
Dude
left.
loves talking about himself.
He's just talking.
That's pretty cool, right? I guess I had some impact on the market. And then that's when I got hired by Fox, so I went up to Fox. However, my last year there, remember the Olympics in the city of Atlanta? Remember that? Okay, remember a guy by the name of Richard Jewell?
Of course, he was the guy that I think
they were calling him security guy that was falsely.
Why are we mentioning Richard Jewell?
Who's Richard Jewell?
Oh, they made a movie about this guy.
He's a guy who you never seen that Clint Eastwood movie on it?
No.
Richard Jewell? There was like a bombing, and he actually like warned people that a bombing was about to occur.
Richard
but then he ended
Jewell.
up being like, there was like a media frenzy around him, and he ended up
Oh my
being
God.
like kind of baselessly, I don't want to say slandered.
He's dead?
But, misrepresented. Yeah, he is dead.
What did he die of?
Why do you need to know this? Why?
Just get it.
Type 2 diabetes.
Oh no.
If only he had Ozempic.
Ozempic, yeah.
Yeah. But was an American security guard and law enforcement officer who alerted police during the Centennial Olympic Park bombing at the 1996 Summer Olympics in Atlanta, discovered a backpack containing 3 pipe bombs on park grounds, and helped evacuate the area before the bomb exploded, saving many people from injury or death. For months afterward, he was suspected of planting the bomb, resulting in adverse media publicity that came to symbolize the excesses of law enforcement and the news media.
Damn.
So, I hate Clint Eastwood movies. This is actually probably one of the stronger ones that he's made, though.
Do you like Gran Torino? Do you like the Dollars trilogy?
No, I do not like Gran Torino. I don't know how anybody likes these movies. I don't even like American Sniper.
I haven't seen that, but have you?
American Sniper.
What about the Dollars trilogy? Do you like the Dollars trilogy?
No.
You don't like the Good, the Bad, the Ugly?
I've never seen them. So I guess I shouldn't say I don't like them. I've never seen them, but I'm not really huge on like westerns.
Okay.
Here, the day that the Atlanta Journal-Constitution comes out with, he fits the profile of the lone bomber because he lives with his mother. Okay, maybe he lives with his mother because he wants to save money, right?
I like where this
So
guy's head's at.
I was instinctly on the air suspicious that
There's nothing wrong with living with
I'm
your
not rushing to judgment
mother.
here. Little did I know, and I found out later, Richard Jewell was listening to my program at that moment. And we had a conversation later. I got one of the early interviews with him. According to his lawyer, the stress of all this killed this guy, getting hammered in the press. It went on for a long, long period of time. But
I don't think the stress of this made him consume butter, fat, like sugary
It could
foods
have.
for several years.
I eat because I'm
Diabetic
unhappy,
and
and I'm unhappy because I eat. Do you know that quote?
No.
That's Fat Bastard. Austin Powers.
when he came on the program, that taught me a valuable lesson about rushing to judgment. So I have a history, right? Everyone has a history in broadcasting.
A white boy unfairly maligned. Suddenly, Sean Hannity learns the importance of patience and like getting a story straight before rushing to judgment.
So that was
you
his
should have
whole
already
point.
known if you were a fucking journalist.
His whole point was, we caused this guy Richard Jewell to eat himself to death by,
Yes.
and that's why I don't rush to
that's on
judgment.
you. That's on your hands.
That's why I don't rush to judgment on Epstein. Got it. Thank you for that point. You could have made it in 2 seconds.
I forgot he's like mobilizing this in service of saying that we don't. Who's to really say?
Yeah,
that
who's to
Epstein,
say?
despite successful convictions and multiple victims that have come forward with credible testimony, who's to really say if he's really guilty? Don't we all have demons?
And
Don't you?
I learned not to rush to judgment. And I like
Certainly.
to watch stories develop. That's why I said when people start going in and, you know, racing out there and they're trying to outdo each other and they want to be first and they got their theory. And I kind of feel a little bit like this on the Epstein story. But if you go through my list of issues I got right over the years and everyone else in the corrupt legacy.
Thing did Epstein attempt to do that ended up looking disfavorable to him later and used against him?
I don't know.
There was an exoneration for Richard Jewell. That was the difference, as opposed to Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes, it's years. It's gonna come. It's coming. He was framed. He was framed by
He was
Mossad.
just helping these women.
He was just helping them.
State-run media mob got wrong. I was right about Duke Lacrosse. I went to meet with those families.
Oh,
I
Duke
talked to them.
Lacrosse.
I knew
What do you think about Duke
exculpatory evidence
Lacrosse?
was coming out. UVA.
This is like ringing some bells. Can you give me like
False accusations of sexual assault by some.
Oh, right. Some of them said like they made like hyperbolic remarks or whatever, and they tried to use that to indict them, but they weren't guilty. But isn't there more to it that like some of them were? Not all of them, but some of them were.
We got her. Let's get the defamation suit going.
No,
I think that
Ferguson
there's I think that they were innocent, but I could be wrong. Let me just check. Duke Lacrosse scandal. It's a hoax. The Wikipedia says hoax. Was a widely reported 2006 criminal hoax in North Carolina in which 3 members of the Duke University men's lacrosse team were falsely accused of rape. The 3 students were these names, and the accuser was a part-time striptease dancer, but also a student. Alleged that rape occurred at the residence of the 2 teams' captains, and she admitted later to falsifying and fabricating the entire thing.
Oh, there you go.
Damn.
So I'm pointing out all.
Should you go to jail for life for that?
Probably should carry some sort of penalty, but not specific to this particular false accusation. Just if you make any false accusation and it turns out that
Should go to jail for life.
Not for life, no.
Josiah, marry, fuck, kill, Sean Hannity, Patrick Bet-David, Hunter Biden. Oh my God. I can't decide.
You're fucking Hunter Biden. You've seen his dick. Come on.
I
Be
haven't
honest.
seen his dick. No.
Sure. Okay.
I don't think I could marry.
You're killing Sean Hannity. That's the easiest one. Come on.
I really want to kill Patrick Bet-David. I don't let me think.
Why? More than Hannity?
That's a joke. That's a joke. All right, that's a joke. Hang on.
It's...
Are you marrying PBD?
No, I'm marrying Hunter Biden. Duh.
You're fucking PBD?
I have to fuck PBD, I guess. Yeah. I'm not fucking Sean Hannity, so.
Oh, I think that's right. Damn, that's tough though.
Missouri. I had so many
This
police.
is like truly, what is it? What did he say to Jeffrey Epstein? The Enigma?
Enigmas never age. That is
Yeah,
one of the
this-
this enigma will never age.
This Enigma will never age. No matter when you're being asked, it will always be difficult for you to be able to decide.
Contacts that were telling me, Sean, there are multiple African-American eyewitnesses
Wait,
that will
can you
corroborate
pause real
Darren
quick?
Wilson's story.
How about Sean Zanity and he's barred out?
Okay,
funny.
okay, whatever. Speaking, he's just gonna yap about himself. Clearly, let's do Hunter Biden.
Oh yeah. Did you know what he was gonna say, or you're interested in?
No,
maybe...
I saw the beginnings of it, but I thought he
Okay.
was going to talk more about Epstein or whatever. And I mean,
I
it is telling that he thinks it's useful to bring up Richard Jewell to say that, like, we don't know, maybe Epstein will turn out to be exonerated like fucking Richard Jewell.
Can we find a way to mute just Pisco? That's so rude. That's one of my
you said, how
commentators.
did you describe your audience earlier?
What did I say? I don't know.
You said they were like the greatest, the loveliest, the amazing.
I think I was like talking shit. I think
heaping praise.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
I don't recall.
And look at how they treat you.
They treat me with such
And
disdain.
they're not whining in your ear about be
They're
nicer
whining,
to this
Hutch.
person or whatever. They're
Be
fucking
nice to
telling,
Hutch. I am
they're
nice to
telling
Hutch.
you that. How do I mute you?
No, we're not doing that, guys.
Says 4 days ago on Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan, Hunter Biden sat down to give a raw tell-all interview. So
I
let's
hate
go
this
through-
already, and I only watched a tiny portion of it. But
I actually found it very interesting. But I wouldn't say that like it's the type of thing that like the format is supposed to lend itself to people thinking, oh, this is them being like vulnerable and honest and real, but it's just as much of an opportunity for Hunter Biden to PR spin as anything else. Even though I do think that there are times where he is being very candid and honest about his thoughts and feelings on certain things. There's other points, especially when as it relates to what the majority of it will cover, which is like the myths, the criminality, his taxes, and like all of that. How much of that is just self-mythologizing versus him being honest and giving his account of the story.
yeah, I just think that like he's on a warpath now with the Jamie Harrison interview as well to talk shit about people who betrayed his father or whatever. And I'm not here for that. I think that Joe Biden did something that was incredibly selfish by continuing to maintain his presence in the race and continuing to do these Trump-like maneuvers at certain times. I thought that was very selfish. But people hate when I say that.
Which is why you keep repeating it.
Yeah.
Recovery. As far as the media goes, what do you think are the 3 craziest things you've heard about yourself in the press?
Oh my God, the list is forever and forever. They got stuck on for a while, even Fox News, that I funded the Wuhan lab. I said that
This, wait,
I love that.
forever. They got
Wait,
stuck
did
on
you?
for a
Did
while,
you,
even
Hunter?
Fox News, that I
Breaking: Hunter Biden's investment firm funded company that partnered with Wuhan Virology Lab. He spun that a little bit differently to make it sound more conspiratorial than
Yeah, Hunter,
it
you
may have
mean.
been, but it has been revealed that Rosemont Seneca Technology Partners was managing director, was one of the main financial backers for a company that funded the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So it's like several degrees removed, but obviously the way that he presented it, even though it's dishonest, I do think that is the way that most people interpret it. And
That's how they would
that's how they
heard
want
it.
people to interpret it. That like Hunter Biden was in bed with this or whatever and helped unleash a biological warfare weapon or whatever.
I funded the Wuhan lab. I said that to someone a long time ago on camera, as in response to a question like you just asked. And he says, you got to be really careful. Somebody's going to be able to cut that and say, I did not fund the Wuhan lab.
I did.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah.
Exactly. Me and George Soros. Supposedly, me and George Soros have a lot in common. The one thing I'm positive we don't have in common is that I am very, very far from being a billionaire. But those conspiracies are kind of the
You
craziest.
want more money, Hunter?
You know, I just heard Jake Tapper is going on TV saying that, I basically acted as the chief of staff.
I think Hunter was driving the decision making for the family in a way that he was almost like a chief of staff of the family.
Does that strike you as pretty bizarre?
Of the family, he
12 days
says.
in the White House.
He said of the
last 2
family.
years.
Of the family.
He said of the family.
That's the thing. I was like, he's not saying that you actually helped guide policy or data
In the White
making
House.
for Biden. He's saying that a lot of Biden's choices were informed by his family.
And he was the
Hunter
chief of the
Biden.
staff of the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Of the administration. Had a lot of other things going on. I think the one that was like
A lot of other things going on. A little
Yeah,
busy.
fucking smoking crack, doing drugs, banning whores.
we feel like you just got hit in the gut, by an elephant. Is when Rudy Giuliani and Bernie Kerik went to the Newcastle County Courthouse here in Delaware and talked about me being involved in, I think, child sex crimes and stuff like that. And I mean, literally with nothing. That one was the last and the only one that was kind of hard to wake up from. Is like how do you ever take that out of somebody's head after they've heard it, But I mean, truly, the list just goes on and on.
Did you try to sue for defamation or damages or anything after that?
No, and I mean, I am in a defamation suit right now. I mean, one of the craziest ones is what Patrick Byrne is.
Hunter Biden accuses Patrick Byrne of defamation for tweet. The younger Biden accuses the Republican megadonor of falsely implying he contributed to the Hamas attacks in Israel last month.
Wow.
This is November 2023.
Said about me, and let me get this straight. He said that I was the key person in ensuring that the sanctioned Iranian oil money that was being held in South Korea was released at the behest of myself and somebody in Pakistan, and I took a 10% fee off the $8 billion for my family.
We have to give 10%
to the
big man.
guy.
You're the big man, I think.
And then I had traveled to Tehran and to the Middle East in 2022 and 2023 in order to effectuate this, and then that ultimately.
The largest investor in Hamas is the Palestinian Authority. 1/3 of the PA budget goes to Hamas. Last year alone, they gave $1.9 billion. They spent more on Hamas than Iran and Qatar. Joe Biden knew, but he sent them U.S. taxpayer money anyway.
These are all lies, by the way. So basically, America was there were certain times. I think there was a prisoner exchange once, and it's like their money that we let them have access to in response to either some negotiations or it was like a hostage exchange or something, and people construed that as, oh, Joe Biden funded this genocidal attack on October 7th. You would agree, by the way, it's genocidal attack?
Yes.
Okay, great. So we agree
you're
on
the
that.
one who's going to virtue signal over that today and morally grandstand?
I just want to know if you condemn October 7th.
Oh, that? I thought you were saying it's... Oh, wait. I thought you were saying right now it's a genocidal attack. No, I don't think October 7th was genocidal, but it was obviously an atrocity, yes.
Whoa.
And I condemned it or whatever.
Whoa. Why wasn't it genocidal?
Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Are you good?
Ultimately, his followers
I'm
made
great.
the direct
October
connection
7th was
that
not
money
genocidal?
used to
No.
Why is
you gonna
that?
prove that it was? Because I don't assume that every single large-scale massacre is genocidal. Was 9/11 genocidal against Americans?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Then we're just not going to agree on this.
Okay.
to fund Hamas for the murder of over 1,400 Jews on October 7th. That's the kind of stuff. And now, I know you guys look and say, like, but who believes that? You know, I don't know. The million people that read that tweet, you know. I had one guy in California who is a, I don't remember his name, but he's associated with SpaceX, a big investor in SpaceX, a very, very wealthy guy, claim just months ago that that I rented a house from him and that I trashed the house and I had the Secret Service stiff him on the rent and that I tried to pay him with a book of art made my own feces.
Can you pause real quick?
His ex-landlord claims he's...
So there's a response to the chat. Modern Day Debates take volunteers to debate. Andrew Wilson would love to see you two throw down. Modern Day Debate tried to organize a debate between me and Andrew Wilson refused. So you can go
what
take
was the topic going to be?
It's about Trump policy, stuff like that, like politics.
Why did he refuse?
He said that I would have to pay him thousands of dollars in order for him to debate.
I guess him being like one of the most super chatted YouTube channels ever is not enough to pay the bills, apparently.
Yeah.
There also has to be an appearance fee.
And it had to be
attached
me.
the debate.
And it has to be me to pay the appearance fee. It can't be anyone else, he says.
Okay.
Tipped him on a whopping $300,000 in rent. What happens to the back rent that Hunter Biden owes my family? Is that pardoned now?
And, you know, like, how insane is that, right? You know, but you look into the background of this person, and he's a major investor in SpaceX. He's probably worth a few $100 million, and he has this huge following on X. Elon Musk retweeted that.
I don't get this from Josiah, Aaron. Quote, do we all agree Hunter's riz is as plentiful as other parts of him? Is that like, what is that meant to say, Josiah?
It's pretty messed up, man. There's also some people, though, who just think that if you leave the country, you're a spy. You know what I mean? Like, why is he going so many places?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, the really interesting thing is they created this a character that is both in some sense a ne'er-do-well fail son that has not ever accomplished anything, and a criminal mastermind all in one. I kind of feel like, you know, pick one. Most of my travel during that period of time when my dad was vice president, and by the way, I didn't travel anywhere when my dad was president. I don't think I left the country. But during that time, I was the chairman of the board of what's called the UN World Food Program. And I was also chairman of the board of the Truman National Security Project, chairman of the board of the Center for National Policy. I was a professor at Georgetown University, adjunct professor for over 4 years in the master's program at the School of Foreign Service. I taught a course on advocacy, largely based upon the implementation of a thing called PEPFAR, President's Emergency Plan for Aid Relief in Africa. And as the chairman of the board of the UN World Food Program, it's kind of like what you know of, like as a kid growing up, like UNICEF. UN has voluntary aid organizations in which each nation state that is a part of the UN voluntarily contributes to the continued operations of UNICEF, UNHCR, UNESCO. All of these organizations are all voluntary aid organizations. The UN World Food Program is the largest voluntary aid program.
He sounds so much like Biden. It's crazy.
It's crazy how much he does sound like Biden. And also,
like a younger version, obviously.
I think that it's a little bit telling that Biden is donating to all these terrorist organizations like UNESCO, World Food Program, that kind of thing. I don't think it's a good look for him.
UNICEF, yeah.
In the United Nations, and it is the largest humanitarian organization in the world. It serves over 80 million meals on a daily basis in 72 different countries, and it is the first on the ground because it controls all the airlift and communications for all of the relief efforts globally in any natural disaster or civil war or conflict. And so the U.S. is responsible for about 65% of the budget of the World Food Program, which was my responsibility as chairman of the board. And I increased the budget of the World Food Program, which just won the Nobel Peace Prize 2 or 3 years ago, by 50% when I was chairman over my term, to like $2.4 billion.
To be like media myths and conspiracies, but a lot of it turns into like, so I did all of this good stuff, and I was part of these humanitarian efforts, and I'm basically like.
But he was also on the board of Burisma. Let's talk about Burisma.
Crazy. Like, as far as I can tell with the Burisma thing, and he admits it, he was like, yeah, I get this shit because of my last name, okay? He like says it at a different point. But he says one that carries also, that's like a double-edged sword because there's privileges, but since there's like laser focus on me because of my last name, I've also been held accountable more than the average person would have for like similar crimes or penalties, etc. And then
yeah, it's kind of true. Both are true. He wouldn't have had those opportunities but for his name. But yeah, ultimately, he is being held accountable pretty harshly on some stuff where it's kind of a nothing burger.
And he also says, like as far as I can tell, if they put him on the board to attempt to get to Joe Biden, then that didn't work because he was on the board, he served, and then they never got to Joe Biden, as far as I can tell.
Yep.
If that was their goal.
It's all gone now. Trump ended all that. But point about traveling. So I went to the Philippines after Typhoon Haiyan. I went to Kenya to Dadaab when refugees were flowing in from across southern Africa and Ethiopia. I've been to Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, and I've been to all over the world. 75% of my travel during that period of time was on behalf of the World Food Program and other, NGOs that I worked on behalf of.
So I want to back all the way up to the very, very beginning. A little short bio, or we can do a long bio too. So
Super chat real quick from Josiah again. Wow, a big Oiler. Pisco, serious question as I workshop a YouTube title. If Wall Street Journal reports Trump was briefed by Bondi in May, his name is in the Epstein files, but Trump just said he was never briefed. Can I call that a lie, or is that merely a denial? I don't know, man. Are you asking for legal advice? I can't
say like mistruth or falsehood.
I don't know why. So, what would be false about saying that Trump lied? All he said was he was never briefed. Isn't that a lie? Why can't you call that a lie?
I'm saying that if there's any doubt or whatever, there's other ways you can say that somebody promulgated a falsehood without outright accusing them of lying. You can just say they stated something that was incorrect.
Trump falsely claimed that he was not, something like that.
Falsely or incorrectly, yeah.
If you're scared about it. You don't want to be blatantly dishonest in the YouTube? All right. Trump falsely claims he wasn't briefed by Bondi or something. I don't know. Some shit like that. You can do it.
Yeah.
In Delaware.
Okay, in Delaware.
Yeah, Wilmington.
Yeah,
10 minutes from here. 50.
The thing is, can you pause? Okay, I just
Nice
find it funny. Like, Trump will sue you even if you're 100% correct and everything you said is true, and even if you put all those caveats. Like,
yeah, if he thinks there's like a dime to be made and a headline to be generated,
he'll
that
sue
might be
you
skewed in his
anyway.
favor.
Yeah, so you're kind of fucked, bro.
Place?
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I still do love about the East Coast.
So with that, Pisco's recommending that you just lie. Just
No. Justin Little has a good one. Trump
Fuck it.
bullshits
Throw
his
caution
way.
to the wind. It's gonna happen. It's a foregone conclusion that you will be sued by the Trump administration. for
Bullshits
millions
his
of
way
dollars.
through press conference. You can use a word like that.
No, because it'll get deprioritized in the algorithm.
Oh,
Like a
you can
bad
say
word like that.
bullshit, huh?
Yeah. I think even if you put like a star, it's not going to. It's not good.
Trump BS's?
Goes
People
to-
BS's?
Delaware and the Mid-Atlantic is the history. And so I'm a little bit of a history geek.
Yeah, because Delaware doesn't really get much representation because you got Philadelphia, powerhouse of history and culture. You got Rocky, a lot of other things going on there, too important stuff. And then
we agree on that. I'm basically living in a suburb of Philly. Yeah.
well, I don't want to say that, but you got Baltimore, The Wire.
Yeah.
You know, you got people on horses in the streets out there.
Yeah.
People on ATVs, and then Delaware's kind of sitting in between. People know that it's a corporate tax haven. People know that the Biden family's from there. What's something that people don't
The
know
Biden crime family.
about Delaware that they should?
Delaware's the first state. I don't know if they should know this, but it's the first state to ratify.
Okay, then he goes into like a history lesson or whatever.
Oh, I
so
love
I want
history.
to bring it to.
Yeah, bring it
I
to
know
that.
you love a good history lesson, but we're gonna skip through that. He actually believes, and this makes total sense because he doesn't think that Biden should have stepped down and he should have been the nominee and run in the general.
'Cause he was
and
ready
beaten
to
Trump,
go.
I suppose. Okay, he defends Beau not having to disclose that he had cancer and running for public office. Which is insane.
Did Beau, he knowingly had cancer and ran for governor
yeah,
of...
and he was like running for like public office.
I think he became
Typical
governor
Democrat,
of... did he become governor of Delaware?
I don't know.
Search Beau Biden. Oh, Attorney General of Delaware. Interesting.
Yeah, 44th Attorney General of Delaware.
Yeah.
But I think you should, it's not about you have to disclose it, but if you know that you have that form of potentially a terminal illness, which he did, you should not be running for public office. You should be fucking at home with your family being treated.
100%. Will you
Because
guys...
you cannot give your all while you're in the middle of a health crisis like that.
I think that's true. If we find out that Biden knew he had cancer beforehand, I would be very, very pissed, like even more than I am now. Pondering asks, last question, will you all react to Mehdi and Piers? It just happened. What are they talking about?
I'm sure I will after this.
Yeah.
Because Pisco is a hard out at 5:30.
I have a hard out at 5:30.
Because he's just so busy, even though this is now his full-time job. He has other shit to do, apparently.
You need to stop what you're doing right now, Aaron. You are a despicable. You're a despicable person.
I'm despicable. I'm pathetic.
Just because
what else
I have a dinner to go to. There's a dinner I have to prepare for. I have to go to a dinner, and you're over here.
Dinner.
I have to get ready to go.
Are you okay?
You don't get invited to dinners. That must be it.
You just said that you have to prepare for dinner.
When's the last dinner that you were invited to?
2 nights ago.
Yeah. Who invited you?
Yes, my friends in.
Yeah.
I almost said it wrong. In Florida.
In Florida, yeah. Where did you guys go? Did you guys go to Red Lobster? You go to Olive Garden? That's
What's
not the
wrong
kind
with
of
Red Lobster or Olive
That's
Garden?
not the kind of dinner I
Both of those slap.
go to.
What's wrong? What's wrong with Olive Garden?
Don't try to lean into it and get the the working class on your side. What you're trying to do right now.
The middle class. I mean, Olive Garden and Red Lobster are like middle class fancy staples.
There's a dinner, okay? There's a dinner I have to go to. It's been prearranged for weeks now. And for you...
Okay, what the fuck does prepare mean? Prepare for dinner.
Prepare for dinner means get ready, get dressed up, go to the dinner, travel to the dinner, show up to the dinner.
Okay, it's not preparing, though. I don't know.
It is preparing. You don't think showering and getting ready... How long do you take to prepare for your dinners?
He has to comb his Lego hair wig. Can you confirm or deny this? Is that part of your preparation process?
How long does it take you to get ready for dinner?
I don't know, long ass time. Why? If you gave me 8 hours to get ready, I'd use every single minute of it. I can spend that long getting ready.
Okay, so then we're on the same page then.
But I'm human. You're not a woman, so why are you doing that?
So I need some time to get ready for my dinner. And it's not your place to question my preparation techniques. I get ready the way I get ready the way I get ready. That's just how I get ready.
The way I get ready, the way I get ready, the way I get ready.
Yeah. That's how I
That's
get
the most
ready.
redundant thing that you've ever
It's
said.
not redundant.
When you so by rehearse, do you mean like you have to rehearse like the small talk you're gonna do because you're just like if you don't
sometimes I plan
actually
a little
like
catchy,
try to plan
sometimes I plan a
conversations
catchy
beforehand, they
quip.
just end up being
Sometimes I
bad.
plan a quip. What's wrong with planning a quip?
Nothing.
Do you ever
Makes
plan
me
quips?
Super cool. No, all off the cuff, baby, completely.
You plan your quips.
Like what? Which one that I plan?
I don't know. I don't know that I know that it. You know that you plan a quip, but.
Okay, well, you just made a claim and you can't back it up. So
But I'm
why don't you shut
asking
the
you.
fuck up
Do
and
you
we can get
wait?
back
No,
to
wait.
Hunter
You don't shut the
Biden.
fuck up. Do you plan a quip?
No.
All right. Well, I think you do.
This is just a massive self-report that you
I just
have
think
to.
that-
You're so socially awkward that you have to rehearse.
I'm not socially awkward.
conversations.
I sometimes will prepare a quip, and there's nothing wrong with preparing a quip. It's one quip.
You
In the
prepare a
course of a
bit for
conversation,
dinner.
you might have 4 or 5 bits, 4 or 5 quips. Maybe one of those is prepared.
Question
It's called
from the audience.
preparation.
Is part of
It's
your
called
preparation
preparation.
process also shaving your entire body?
An everything shower?
Yes.
I don't have an
The
everything
shower.
I don't have an
Right,
everything.
but right before dinner, that's the best time for you to do it.
No, that's not the best time to do it. You do the day before. You take an everything shower the day before
So
dinner.
you shaved your entire body yesterday?
No, I'm not. I don't need to
Because
do
you've
it.
known about this dinner for weeks.
I have
so you
known
did
about
the
it for
everything
weeks.
shower yesterday.
Wait, I have known about the dinner for weeks, but I don't need to take an everything shower for this dinner. For this dinner,
Okay.
I just need to take
How
a regular
else do you
shower.
prep your body for dinner?
You don't need to talk about my body. You don't need to do this. This is
You're the
all.
one who said that you have to prep. I don't know what that means.
You know what it means. You know what prepping means. You prep for dinner. You dress for dinner. You go get dinner prepared for dinner. So I do what you do.
The only
What
prep
do you
for
do?
dinner I do is if I'm actually cooking the dinner myself.
You can't cook.
Yes, I can.
What's the best thing you can cook?
I don't know. I've done vegan Thanksgivings for my friends before. They liked it.
Tofurkey?
No. That's always pre-bought because there's like store-bought ones that are easier to get than to like take time making it.
I don't wash my hair in that way, King Rainbow, where I'm like every day shampooing crazy amounts. I probably shampoo every other day. I don't shampoo every day. But I also don't go all the way where like, oh, you only need to shampoo once a week. That's crazy. I can't imagine people
Thank you for clearing that up.
shampooing
Any other part of the preparation
every
process you want to disclose
single
before we get
day.
back to it?
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes it's just fun to be under the hot water of the shower for a little longer than usual. Sometimes it's okay to just, look down and just let the water, just for fun, just a little extra. And so I like to build in a little extra time for me to have, a little bit of introspection. That's where a lot of my good thinking is done, is in the shower.
You do a full douche before dinner as part of your prep.
You can press play now.
Oh, now you're ready to get back to it. Got it.
Yeah.
I guess drinking or experimenting with drugs.
I think the first time that I think I read about this, the first time I took a drink was a party where I stole a glass of champagne and hid under the table. Maybe 11, something like that.
Okay, so before high school.
Yeah, but that was like my first memory with alcohol was that. I don't think then I didn't like continue drinking after that, but I can remember that distinctively. But then in high school was when I started to drink. I played football, so you wouldn't really drink during the football season, but weekend drinking, yeah.
So just like standard going.
This is gonna be about Bo.
It wasn't as linear as that. And so with me, what ended up happening was when my brother was dying, he was dying in a very slow but certain way because he had glioblastoma, multiform stage 4 cancer, which basically you have a 2% survival rate. And even that 2%, your chances of being fully intact physically and mentally are, basically 0.2% of people survive without, their life, but almost a 98% certainty that you're not going to live outside of 2 years. And so my brother never wanted to really know those numbers. And so I remember, I haven't read all of the book, but people have given me little synopses. Like this guy, Alex Thompson, who no reason anybody would know who the hell Alex Thompson is. He has this whole thing, I understand, in which he says like the Bidens covered up those cancer diagnosis. And I feel like saying, what the fuck are you talking about, man? You get a terminal diagnosis, okay? What do? Do you accept it, go home and die? Or do you say, I'm not dying, I'm going to be part of that 2%. I sit down with the oncologist, and the oncologists tell me that there are new procedures and there are new experimental things that they're doing as it relates to X, Y, and Z at MD Anderson or at Sloan Kettering, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try that, and I'm going to survive, and I'm going to run for governor. My brother was the Attorney General. He was no longer the Attorney General. He did not run for re-election as Attorney General, but he was considering running for governor at the time. When my brother would be asked, he'd say, I'm okay. I'm okay. And he'd keep doing his job, and he was in private practice.
I mean, is this not him just saying that he did lie about it? It's a lie of omission.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a lie of omission. And also, it's one of those things that I think we should, I think, impose on our elected officials from now on a social cost to lying about your health stuff or to running for office with a terminal illness, regardless of how optimistic you are. We see where that optimism led us. Social cost should be criticism. I don't know. What Jake Tapper's doing.
If they run and they actually win, then when they eventually die in office, you don't mourn them, maybe.
Yeah.
Their legacy is just, fuck you. You're making it harder for us to fight off a Republican majority, and this is your fault. This is like your version of the, who is it? Whatever Kane Award.
What?
The guy who he was a COVID denier and then he
Herman
died of COVID.
Cain.
Yeah, Herman Cain. This is the Pisco's
version.
Hour Award. Any Democrat that's too old or infirm or is terminally ill and is nonetheless running for public office, and it comes to light that they knew, and they successfully win and then subsequently die in office.
Don't you agree?
Yes, I do.
Oh, right.
I think that there should be limits on this shit.
Yeah, there should be limits. Now, what do you think about, because obviously West Wing did it first. Well, FDR did it first, right? What do you think about FDR? Should he have disclosed, oh, I had polio, oh, I can't walk?
If your illness or condition interferes with your ability to do your job, then yes, I think.
So you're going to give up all of the legislative accomplishments of Biden? I mean,
Is
FDR?
that what I said? You asked me if he should be honest about it. I think you have a responsibility to be honest to the American people, and that includes
like FDR didn't appoint 500 federal judges and it didn't pass major legislation.
I'm not here to say that FDR was like the most
legislative accomplished president of all time. FDR
elected 4 times, right?
Yes, elected 4 times.
They needed term limits to prevent this motherfucker from getting a 5th one.
Exactly, and I think that the people have a right to know whether their president uses a wheelchair. Or in the case,
as always, it depends on how you came into needing the wheelchair. But I have a feel most people that use a wheelchair, especially if they're in the public eye, that is not something that they avoid talking about. It's something that they end up talking about probably way more than they'd like to.
And so, what does Alex Thompson think my brother would owe fucking anyone?
Oh, whoa!
To say, oh no, I'm done.
Just real quick. J-Mac, you keep talking shit in the chat. If you want to talk about Russiagate, you have to come on stream. You get owned in the chat. Not during this, but later.
Because that person's like always in your chat.
Yeah, it's so annoying.
I'm not going to run for governor. And why would he do that? Why would you give up on life? And it's almost like I somehow that this human being is not a human being. Like he has not experienced life. He has not had anyone in his life that is, and I find that really hard to believe in a day and age when I don't know anybody that hasn't had somebody in their family that has cancer. And so what do you say to them? Oh, you have cancer? Oh, so you're gonna go tell your boss that you're dying? You should quit now?
Okay,
No, you
it's
don't.
different.
You
It's
go do your
different,
chemo.
Hunter. It's different. So he's trying to invoke Philadelphia. Have you seen Philadelphia?
Yes. Tom Hanks, Denzel.
Denzel what? He's trying to invoke like, oh, you're not supposed to discriminate. Like, first of all, if you have a major debilitating illness, at some point you should disclose it probably to your employer. I think that you actually do have a responsibility. Maybe
If
not
it starts to interfere with your job
to
performance,
HR,
yeah.
to at a bare minimum to HR. There are ways that they can go about for medical leave purposes or for those purposes to make sure that like the bosses don't necessarily know, but you should at least at some point, if it starts to affect your employment, report it to HR. Number two, if we're talking about public office, there's a higher level, I think, of candor
Like duty.
and duty that is required for public officials than for people who are just like, jobbers.
Yeah, because people are putting their faith in you as opposed to like an employer.
Yeah,
like
the
you
world
have to
won't
give,
end.
Like a
right.
resume and all of that. They do background checks. All of that's validated. When you run for public office, a lot of it is people just doing that, but it's not actually because they're forced to disclose more than what you have to disclose anytime you register to run in a public election.
HR is for the bosses for sure, but all I'm saying is like
To
if
protect the company, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're your
But they
friends.
also protect employees as well.
They do, and also there are also if it's starting to materially affect your work, then you have an obligation. Like you have an obligation to like also to protect yourself, to protect you, your reputation, all that stuff. You should definitely like disclose as opposed to not disclose.
You would actually fare better by disclosing it to HR. They're probably forbidden because of some sort of like HIPAA type rule from disclosing that to your superior or boss. And then you can't be held responsible, or like if there were to be some error or something like that, and HR didn't tell you upon you informing them that like, hey, you're not fit to work here any longer, even though that's not why you were telling me that or whatever, like they probably couldn't hold you liable. Like I could see reason like legal benefits to disclosing it alongside the risks of disclosing it to HR that would actually protect you in the event that like it did interfere with your job performance in a way you didn't anticipate it. Because it's like, yeah, well, I told them, and no one told me that I couldn't work here. So, or that would be, it would make my job dangerous. So,
You do your radiation. You get up in the morning and you eat better, and you go on a different diet plan.
like, no one is saying it's not. He presents this false dichotomy where it's like either you like lay down and die with your cancer, or you have to like,
Or
if
you
you don't
hide
think
it
that should
and,
happen, then you have to let my brother run for public office
true.
and mislead the public about his health status.
So crazy.
It's like another thing again. If you while you're in office come into having this illness or whatever,
Very different, yeah.
Like that's entirely different than if you go into it knowing.
Experimental procedures done, and you fight and you fight and you fight. At least that's what my brother did. Anyway, my point being, it was slow, and I knew that there was going to be a real transition, and I knew that there was going to be in the entire family, not for any other reason than proximity. I was with them all the time, as was his wife and as was his children and as
His
was
wife,
the rest of the family.
pause.
But I was with them all the time.
His wife, who after he died, I had a love affair with. But yes, press play.
Never comes up in this.
Oh, it does?
It never comes up.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, not that I remember.
Isn't that irresponsible? Like the Nelk boys interviewing BB, they weren't there to push back.
This is not a responsible interview in a different way.
Oh, really? You actually agree with that?
It's but in a different way. It's an interesting one, but
Wait, you guys
it's
didn't
not.
know that? You guys didn't know that Hunter Biden had an affair with his brother's widow?
Yes.
You didn't know that? Oh, interesting.
He's talked about it publicly before, but not in this.
So I knew what every doctor was saying, and I stayed. I was clean and sober through that period of time, and off and on, I had some relapses, but I had gotten sober in 2003 from alcohol, and I was clean and sober basically.
Okay, then he talks about this, and then
Is it an affair at that point if the husband died? Just maybe
probably not by like
loving,
some technicality or whatever.
A
It's
loving
it's a thing
relationship.
it's clearly going to carry with it social stigma and penalty if you do that.
But should it though? I don't think it should.
Probably not. No, I don't think so. But I'm also not gonna bury my head in the sand and pretend like people are crazy for thinking that that's inappropriate.
I think it's appropriate.
You'd go so far as to endorse it.
Someone said it's what God wants you to do in the Bible.
Yeah, somebody said that's biblical practice, BTW here.
So I think by definition, by divine command theory, it is appropriate.
I mean, biologically, like, his kids are related to him, right?
Yeah.
Bo Biden's kids are, like, related to Hunter, so.
They're nephews. Not morally wrong, in my opinion, says DeVos. Maybe it's... Davin says it's wholesome.
It's not morally wrong, no.
Okay.
I don't know that it's, like, a moral maxim, though, to do it. Any more than, like, any other type
It's
of
a
relationship
commandment.
like that is. This is where he talks about, like, the crime bill. Hold on. Like, his father's, like, rolling that.
All addictions are completely dependent upon the way in which a community responds to them. Nobody gets clean and sober without community. Nobody gets clean and sober without support. If, the response is, met with just violence from the dealing to the destruction, I don't,
Do you think that, like, looking back at the crime bill and stuff, your dad and that kind of...
Oh, yeah. I mean, my point was, when I was at Yale, I wrote my senior analytical thesis was on the disparity between crack and powder cocaine sentencing. That was in 1996, in which, I mean, we knew then. And, that's when my dad became president. He did away with all of that. And I think that Obama did part of it, and he eradicated it all. And then he pardoned almost everybody at the very end of his administration that had been swept up and was still in prison as related to those disparities in federal sentencing. Obviously, he has no control of the state, but hundreds of people were commuted sentences and were pardoned.
And you feel like your paper at Yale kind of helped implant that idea in his mind and help forward that cause?
No, I don't think he remembers my paper at Yale more than anybody remembers my paper at Yale. I think I'm the only one who remembers.
He had mentioned that his, like, a thesis or dissertation of his was on the sentencing disparity between
crack and powder.
And powder cocaine, yeah.
Paper at Yale. But I do know this, is that at the very end, I was the only thing that I can say that I truly weighed in on with my dad was on that level, and he was pushing on an open door. I think people forget the historic record number of people that he pardoned based upon the drug laws.
Also, he pardoned Leonard Peltier, or commuted his sentence from life imprisonment in Florida to house arrest at the Turtle Mountain Reservation.
I was never more proud of my dad. And again, literally, the only things that I advocated for were those things.
Peltier and the sentencing reform.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did a report up in North Dakota about his homecoming event, and it was definitely interesting. I didn't think it would happen.
Hey guys, here's a quick preview of our upcoming episode that's being referenced called...
Okay, yeah. It includes, like, a whole segment here.
Interesting.
Been studying his case, and you have to realize there are elements that were inside of the FBI that still, to the very end, were very threatening. It said that there would be huge consequences within that community of the former and current FBI agents who still firmly believe that Leonard Peltier was responsible for the death of that agent. Anyway, so I knew an inordinate amount about the case and had studied the case. I was in a course of a guy named Stephen Bright, who ran the Southern Center for Human Rights, not the Southern Poverty Law Center. Two different organizations, same purpose, but the Southern Center for Human Rights, which mainly dealt with representing people on death row. One of the cases that we touched on, because I don't think Leonard was ever taken off of death row. Anyway, we worked on Hurricane Carter's case, and I became friendly with Stephen Bright, who's a leading expert in unjustly imprisoned people. And so we studied Leonard's case. I was really, really, really proud because it was really crazy.
Do you know who that is or what?
No, he's very long body.
That's what you were exclaiming at?
Yeah. Look
a superficial observation. I thought it was...
Go back.
You're like, Jesus Christ, look at this man's torso.
Absolutely.
Until we studied Leonard's case. I was really, really, really proud because it was a really courageous thing that I think that my dad did. I wouldn't write who throw. Anyway, I worked on Hurricane Carter's case, and I became friendly with Stephen Bright, who's a leading expert in...
Slender Man over here.
Oh my
God.
God.
I was like astonished by this man's height.
Look at his size.
How tall do you think he is?
6'7".
How tall are you?
6 foot.
Ooh, he's mogging you by 7 inches with that giraffe neck.
unjustly imprisoned people. And so we studied Leonard's case. I was really, really, really proud because it was a really courageous thing that I think that my dad did by letting him out. And I think some people take it for granted that, well, why wouldn't the president do that?
Joanna
It's the right
says
thing to do.
this
And
Leonard
blah, blah, blah.
Peltier
Because he-
case is actually more relevant under this presidency than ever.
You have a lot of really, really
Did
powerful
she say why?
people
No.
that can really mess with your life, and particularly in this atmosphere, by doing the right thing.
What do you think is the biggest inconsistency in the government's case against Peltier?
The two cases that were held against his two accomplices, who both were acquitted, and the lack of evidence that was allowed in Leonard's case as related to the lead up to that event on Pine Ridge, where the tribal police force, along with the FBI, had basically created a goon squad. And over 60 individuals had been tribal members and living on the reservation had, I think it was over 60, had been murdered by this goon squad, had been taken out. Or was it 60 or 16? I can't remember the exact numbers. But they were on a mission basically backed by the FBI. And the judge never allowed all of that information, which they had got, into the case when Leonard was tried. And I can't remember all the other inconsistencies, but one of the things that also is that the woman that they said was Leonard's girlfriend, when they were able to extradite him from Canada to the United States, they used her testimony to justify the extradition from Canada. Once they got him back, she completely recanted and said that she was basically threatened by the FBI to say that she was Leonard Peltier's girlfriend and that she witnessed the whole thing, when in fact they hardly even knew each other. She had lived on the reservation but didn't have any relationship to Leonard. But there's a whole bunch of other inconsistencies.
On a deeper level, what do you think it was about Leonard that scared the federal government in such capacity?
That's a good.
He starts talking about why he believes the GOP has to put all of these restrictions when it comes to curriculum and is trying to prevent American students from learning and wanting to eradicate the Department of Education because if people don't know these things, that they're a less informed populace.
Question. If you believed Leonard, then you had to understand the rest of the story of what the federal government was doing, which what they were
Hutch is
systematically
melting down
murdering
as we
members
speak.
of an organization that were setting out to highlight the.
We're not looping on that, apparently.
I don't know
But-
why he's built it. Does it look at the space between the top of his head and the camera? I'm just slouching. You're
sitting up.
You'll see me.
That comment was enough to make you insecure
I
about
know,
it.
no.
'cause now
I'm
you're
just
sitting up.
showing them. I'm showing them. But
I mean, most of
you-
the time when we're doing Just Press Play, it's like you're
I start to like
this much of it is like your head, and then like this much of it is like your set
Don't-
because of how like low in your chair you are.
You know what? You guys are making too many comments. You can see me on
Too many comments
On
about
Tim
you
Pool.
after you just went, "Oh my God!" at a man's like stature.
Joanna says he was a prisoner because he was a cover-up for international ineptitude, and releasing him would mean admitting their mistake, much like Mahmoud Khalil. Interesting. Why? How is Hutch melting down? I don't believe that.
The injustice that was occurring on reservations across the country. I think that we are in such a ahistorical, is that even the term, time right now? I know why they want to erase history. I know why they don't want to teach about the actual history of this country, because to do so makes a lie out of almost everything that they are trying to achieve. And how could anyone see the way in which Native Americans then and now are treated on Pine Ridge by the federal government, to the degree that they basically paid for and implemented a program to systematically murder those that were simply speaking the truth? Our government, the FBI. By the way, they were able to do much of it at his.
Sounds like Rob
but
Noor.
all of the documentation was available. All of the communications were available at the time of the trial, and the judge wouldn't allow that information to be shared with the jury.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at the bigger picture, American Indian movement was just one of many groups they were targeting.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe one of like 150.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 40, 50 years later, what has it been? How long was Leonard in? 48?
Something like 50.
Yeah, almost exactly 50 years, I think, right? 75. Why do we still hold on to that? Because it still makes a lie. I don't believe in conspiracy theories in the sense of I don't believe that the government has the capacity to carry out a conspiracy. You know, a secret plan. It's all in the open, man. There's no conspiracy behind what ICE agents are doing in the streets of Los Angeles, right now. Or, by the way, in the streets of Detroit or Chicago or Philadelphia
Except for Epstein.
or Tampa or whatever the hell they are, is that they're openly terrorizing people for the purpose of scaring the shit out of them. People look at this moment in time and they get this impression. I used to think it was hyperbole. I'm not so sure now. And the comparisons to 1930s and 1939 and 1932 and Kristallnacht and this is the time and are we before this, are we after this? And And, you know, I look at what we're going through right now as more associated with a moment in our own history, which was Reconstruction.
You're talking about, for reference, after the Civil War.
Yes, from 1865 to 1877. What people don't understand about Reconstruction.
Do you see that? Do you see these parallels that he's drawing, or you don't think it's as bad?
Wait, from Reconstruction
To now, yeah.
No, I don't really
Do you
see
see like
it.
a resurgence of that type.
Well, because I don't see it as geographically contingent as that was, and I think it has. They are different realities, but it's kind of it's not as easily geographically distributable like that. And I also think it relates to different things. It relates to the legitimacy of the country overall. Maybe it's similar, maybe because you know Reconstruction is about legitimacy as well. So maybe let me hear him out. Let him cook.
Reconstruction is that we just fought the Civil War. All of the freedoms which the Constitution guaranteed was guaranteed for black citizens that had just been released from slavery. And people think there was this great migration, it all fell apart. The black population, because of the weight of slavery or whatever other excuse you want to make, kind of fell into this communities of poverty and disenfranchisement and blah, 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 blah. Total bullshit. Between 1865 and 1877, the South Carolina state legislature was a majority black.
I was going to say the state senate that was, I think at the time, based in Charleston was almost all black.
Yeah, all black. And on top of that, because, by the way, it's a vast majority African-American state after the Civil War in South Carolina. You know, and by the way, which was where the first slaves were delivered in the 1600s, right there in Charleston. And so what happened after the Civil War? This amazing thing, this amazing renaissance. These people that jumped in, that had been in slavery for over 200 years. These communities are thriving. And then you have in, what was it, Colfax, Louisiana.
Is that where the first Klan started?
Not where the first Klan started, but the first major lynching occurred in the sense of this, is that you had in Colfax, Louisiana, you had black lawmakers that had gone in to secure the vote in this little town in the courthouse. And white supremacists surrounded the courthouse and they rolled up a cannon and they said, we're going to kill all of you unless you come out and give up this effort to, you know, and they're all wearing masks.
So they talk about this and then, hold on, let me see. Where like they land on it. Like they talk about how like the KKK ends up being, obviously so it's like intimidating and like harassing is the understatement to say black Americans. But like its roots in it's like how is like a voter intimidation squad
of the Constitution.
And there's also this perception, if you look at whenever segregation on public transport was codified with Plessy versus Ferguson, I think it was in 1902, there's this perception because of the voting records of that time that most people supported it. People don't understand, or some people do, but the Klan emerged as a voter intimidation force. It wasn't just simply terror for terror's sake, that was a part of it, but it was to specifically target black area polling stations, voting booths.
It did. And by the way, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Whether it's voter suppression through violence and intimidation or disinformation, it's the same goddamn thing. It's whether it's
I think it's different.
Like the parallels or whatever.
I think that some of the aims are the same, but I think it's you know, let's not compare what was. I mean, I just don't think it's exactly the same. I don't know. Maybe the aims are the same.
Well, obviously it's not the same. It's literally a different time in history.
I know, but
Did you never compare and contrast in history?
I do, but like
compare and contrast the First and Second World War. Compare and contrast.
Okay, they don't want people to vote. They don't want people to vote. I just, yeah, they don't want people to vote. I think it is along racial lines. I think that is something that's happening. I think that's why we had, for example, the Voting Rights Act litigation that occurred, I think in Louisiana and some other states. So yeah, I mean, he has a point.
I think he's saying that this country has a legacy of attempting to disenfranchise minority or inconvenient voting populaces, and that never really went away. It's the strategy, and the groups that they target have kind of just evolved and changed slightly. And the way that you do it,
their
in the
methods,
21st
right?
century is going to be different.
Yeah.
I don't think he's comparing the severity.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think he's saying that like you'd get lynched today if you're like a black American attempting to vote. Obviously, they have it's a lot.
Yeah, they want some people not to vote. They want some people not to vote. Some groups, some identified, coherent set of groups.
It's an algorithm, or whether it's a cross burning in your yard. That is what we have fought. We are caught in this loop. It's like the permanent Reconstruction loop. Okay, the permanent Jim Crow loop is that every single time that we get closer to that idea, that promise, that potential of a more perfect union, what ends up fucking happening is they come in and they shut the door down because there's this evil symbiosis between money and power. So what do? If I said to you,
I love the
I'm going
edits.
to tell
The
you a
edits are so
story
good.
from the past. It's about a minority group of people that live in a country. It's constitutional democracy that has had its problems in the past, but it's an economic powerhouse, and it is the center of learning, it's the center of culture, it has a deep and rich history. But there is a minority group that those in power that came into power through democratically elected means are going to target this minority group because they're stealing all the jobs.
Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens.
Remember this whole
Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force, and
whole
their
thing,
jobs
this
are taken.
ear thing.
They're not original
and everyone
citizens.
started
They're
wearing
not the original people.
the
When
ears.
Wait, ear thing?
Everyone started wearing the ear bandages. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah. I remember this briefly.
Mexico sends its people. They're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you.
On top of that, they're spreading disease and distrust, and they're criminals, and they can be violent. They're eating your dogs and cats.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats.
And what we're going to do is we're going to send masked men to this marginalized group, and we are going to take them, put them on planes, put them on buses, put them on trains, and send them to a prison camp in a foreign country. What am I describing right then? Am I describing Germany, or am I describing the United States right now? Because I will tell you what, if you think that the prison in El Salvador is not a fucking concentration camp, you're out of your fucking mind. Tell me anybody that's returning from there.
Well, now they just recently had some people returning, but his commentary there is very based. Very based. I'd vote
You saw
for
those
this man.
pictures. You think anybody's getting out of there? Or, is it a rehabilitation center? You think I've been to those places in South Sudan and around in those areas? You think anybody's getting out of those South Sudan prisons? Ever? Out of your fucking mind. That's a death camp. You're done. They're over. And if you're not dead, you would want to be dead if you were in that prison. And we just sent a bunch of people without due process, some of them most likely legally in the United States. Like, I think of that poor guy that they said was a gang member because he had a tattoo on his arm that was a makeup artist. And they say he's MS-13. He literally a makeup artist that fled, I think, I'm making it up, Venezuela,
right, yeah.
because of a dictator, and came to the United States and sought asylum, received asylum, and they literally take this poor guy and they pick him up, and he has a family, and he has friends, and he has an entire community, and they give him no due process, and they put him on a plane with maybe a bunch of other criminals and send him to that fucking hellscape. He's dead. And nobody gives a shit.
I think it was just
And I mean
released.
it. Like, we sit here and we talk about the one guy,
But if he had stayed there, given the types of things
Oh,
that
yeah.
they have, that goes on in this or whatever. So, like, if you, like he said, if you lived, you'd want to be dead because of the lifelong trauma that being in that type of environment for even a brief period of time is going to expose you to.
Yep.
guy, because there's a clear
but
legal path to
This is
be
from
on.
Reuters. Venezuelan makeup artist returns home, describes torture in El Salvador.
Get him back. What about all those other people? Am I not supposed to feel for someone? Am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking
What do you think about this
gardening?
argument?
Who do you think is here by the...
I think I don't like it personally, but I also recognize that it's not the message that is attempting to resonate with me. He is trying to reach people that you can give them every single humanitarian appeal to try to get them to not be so draconian on immigration, but they just don't want to hear it. So you move to kind of a self-interested, nationalist, economic, like there is a benefit to these people being in the country. And so it should be, and it's something that you, whether you realize it or not, are already benefiting from in a way that's completely invisible to you.
Mm-hmm.
So you should take that into account before you go around saying that these people steal our jobs and they don't contribute and they leech off the American government and the economy, when it's the exact opposite of that.
fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to
I
get
like that
here
swearing
because
is
they thought
legal
that they
now.
could give themselves and their family a better chance. And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals. White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a fucking violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well, you got David Axelrod and, Rahm fucking Emanuel. So fucking smart, Rahm Emanuel. He said, we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters. Rahm, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden at 81 years old. And he got 81 million votes. And he did not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from fucking Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. Then nobody said,
he doesn't understand
Joe
it.
Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they
You know, when he was asked how many genders are there, you know what he said?
At least 3 or at least...
At least 3.
Yeah.
Isn't that adorable?
No, he's right. There are at least 3 genders.
At least 3.
Yeah, he's right about that.
But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say, fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the
phone. Don't threaten me with a good time, Hunter.
Don't threaten me. Don't threaten me, man.
And call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking...
That's what I would do.
crime
Whoa.
Yeah, you would do
I
that?
would do that. No, that is actually a base policy of that. Listen, I was talking shit about the Bidens. I didn't expect this level of baseness from Hunter. That was one of my policies, that were a Democrat to take office and were we to demand the Gulag prisoners out of CCOT and were Bukele to refuse, I would, as president, support military action against the government of El Salvador and intervene and potentially regime change, but certainly military action to obtain all of the political prisoners from CCOT. Absolutely, I would. I think it's, in fact, go back 5 seconds. I want to hear him say that again because that just made.
Fuck Salvador, because in order for us to lead, I say, fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now, or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking
100%
crime what they're doing.
You were like going hard on this interview, and again, he does say things that merit a lot of criticism in this conversation. But there were also moments like this
of pure brilliance.
He's cooking.
Yeah, he's cooking. He's definitely cooking. Guys, can we get some Blue MAGA in the chat? Blue MAGA in the chat. That is the most based. And I need a Democrat to say that. I need an actual Democrat leader to say that. I need Chuck Schumer to say this. This is crazy that Hunter Biden on this issue is more based than our Democratic representatives. Crazy. Blue MAGA in the chat. Thank you.
Frustrating is that, like, okay, so the big point of contention, like the biggest thing that tanked Trump's approval ratings in his first term, what was it?
Trump in his first term?
Yeah.
Was the trying to repeal Obamacare. They got him down to like 30.
No. The thing that where his polls tanked and they never recovered. It was related to immigration.
Maybe the government shutdown? I don't know.
Child separation policy.
Oh.
Because you had these fucking ghouls going out here saying we need to take kids away from their family to get them to stop coming. And it's just insane to think that that was like the biggest scandal related to immigration outside of just the Muslim ban in his first term. It almost looks cute in comparison to the shit that they're doing in Alligator Alcatraz, the way that they're just not even like going forward with due process or whatever. Because what they did is like, and it was so fucking malignant and evil what they were doing, is that they would get parents. Why are you laughing?
Sorry, someone put a comment that killed me. It said, if Gavin wants to beat Hunter in 2028, he's going to have to start smoking crack right now. Sorry, go ahead. Please finish. Please finish.
That is funny.
Child separation.
No, what they do is like these people come across the border and they detain them, and then to get them to surrender their kids, they would say, oh, we have to question them, or we're going to give them a bath sometimes they would say that to get them away. Then they detain the parents, and they start the process of deporting the parents usually. And then they move these kids and they put them in these ICE detention facilities alone. And then they would immediately, some of them just stayed there. It was supposed to be no more than 20 days. Some of them ended up staying there far longer than 20 days. And because the state's not supposed to assume custody that long, and certainly not in those facilities at all. For that period of time. And then they're putting them in fucking foster care thing. There's still 1,300 kids that have never been reunited with their families.
Yeah, I had a family separation case that I worked on. So Aaron is absolutely correct. What they would do is they would charge the parents with a crime. Typically, DOJ policy, it is a crime to cross the border without inspection and admission. And what they would do is, even though it's not the policy to charge that offense unless it's the second time or unless they've already been deported, they would charge just the parents for that crime and force them to go into the criminal system and keep their kids. Now, without a parent, they would have to be put into the custody of Health and Human Services. There's like an offshoot, and they'd have to go on those specific. So it was like a mandatory separation policy, and it forced all like thousands of families separated.
He's a fucking dictator thug.
Bukele or Trump?
Both.
Yeah. The craziest thing to me is especially interviewing migrants and like hearing about the journey they went through to get here. You got some people who walked for 30 days through the deserts of Mexico into the Arizona desert in the 110-degree hot summer. Their feet are bleeding. They have a gallon of water. There's people dropping dead while they're walking who they physically cannot stop to help because they are so determined, and because the coyotes trafficking them will kill them if they stop too. And then finally get to the U.S. just to do menial labor. And you have people saying like, do it the right way. It's like, trust me, if there was an easier way, they would have done anything but that. And secondly, I feel like anybody who goes to that length to get here,
just that they're like they show them like climbing over like barbed wire fences and shit to get in. They're going through. They have these like buoys that have like spikes on them. Greg Abbott put those along the Rio Grande to prevent people from coming in. People have died.
Hutch is raiding in. Sorry.
Hell yeah.
Big raid from Hutch. Hutch with the raiding party of an insane degree. An insane size Hutch. We love Hutch. Hutch is our boy. Thank you. The music's going on. That's why.
Even though you're going offline in like 20 minutes.
Well, no, hey, guys. I'm not going offline. We're not going offline at all. In fact, we're talking about all the great things that Hunter is doing in this interview. We had our shit talking about Hunter, but one thing that we thought that was very based on was saying basically that Bukele should be invaded if he doesn't hand over the political prisoners of Sikhat. That was a very base Hunter Biden moment. And now we're getting into some of the intricacies of some of these policies, and Hunter Biden is expressing some sympathy for the people who come into this country and basically face all sorts of perilous dangers to get here, and that there should be more respect given and more sympathy given to their plight. And and Aaron, you were finishing your thought on that line.
I think that like enough pressure is being exerted from Democrats to attempt to expose what goes on in these facilities like Alligator Alcatraz to show the American public. Like they're going in and they're giving testimony, but I'm like, but you need pictures to tell people. You need to be able to show people what is going on, because words or whatever, especially like with people that are still voting for Republicans and shit, or at least like are sympathetic to Trump on the border and like immigration and stuff, they need to see this so their minds can be changed. Because like, again, photos from these facilities will go a lot further than any testimony from a Democrat.
Aaron, do you know what I want? I want Hunter Biden without the crack.
And that's not really Hunter Biden, is it?
Can I get Hunter Biden to be in charge of the Democrats without the crack?
Hey, somebody already said Gavin Newsom to them looks like the type of dude that smokes hella crack already.
He does look like he
looks, to me, he looks like a Wall Street bro that like does like powder.
Yeah, he does a little powder. Well, he does a little powder. No, listen, if it weren't for all the bad taste in my mouth about the Joe Biden stuff and his role as the chief of staff of the Biden family, I would be a lot more sympathetic to Hunter. But his role there kind of sours him a little bit. But I do agree with a lot of his political vision here.
Deserves to fucking be here. I mean, deserves to be an American. Like, we didn't do shit to get here. I mean, I'm sure at some point, like, our great-grandparents did get on the boat from Ireland and were like, fuck, I don't know what's going to be over there. But it wasn't like the grueling conditions that people experience on the way here. And it's just the lack of...
I don't know. I think like Ellis Island was pretty bad. What do you think? Probably some.
Yeah, that. plus that journey that they're showing, this is like the first part of it. Then when you actually get into an immigration court, you're not entitled to counsel if you're before an immigration court. You have kids representing themselves or whatever. They're speaking to the judge in like Spanish because they don't have access to like a lawyer to help represent them.
Humanity. And also,
I totally, by the way, think it's really reprehensible when we have kids who are going against a government lawyer from ICE, and they're like 3-4 years old with their little with their little earphones because they barely understand. They need a translator. So you have a translator translating these like concepts to a child, like 5-6-year-old child who's sitting on like books or something in like a little tiny suit or whatever. And they have no lawyer. And like the judge has to act like in the moment as like a kind of pseudo lawyer. And the judge, again, is not even an Article 3 judge. It's like a DOJ administrative IJ judge. And so, yeah, like this is what the law allows for currently. And even the process like that, right? Even that process was denied to the individuals like who were sent to Sikhat without like, we're not talking about major trials with the right to counsel, with, you know, the ability to subpoena all these witnesses.
Zoom meetings.
We're just talking about like, even that was denied to the people who were sent to this torture chamber. So that's why when I go to Tim Pool and all this stuff, they try to make it out like I'm asking that all these people get criminal trials. That's not even what we're asking for. Like, we're just asking for the bare minimum. And even the bare minimum, I think, is like, if it were my way, I would want to improve the amount of due process that people get, even in expedited removal. Certainly for children, right? Certainly for children.
You're answering for something, for a situation that your parents have made the choice for you. You don't have any say in that. Kids are not coming across the border alone. They're always accompanied by an adult. And that was the line that they went with to justify this policy. How is this any different than when a child is separated from their family because of like jail or something like that? It's like it's different in like so many significant ways. It's insane that they even got that talking point off the ground.
And it's also insane because like people have the sympathy for the quote unquote DACA kids, many of them who are now like not kids anymore. But these kids who are being brought, they're like the people in the same situation, right? Same exact situation. They're just like newer kids. And people have like no sympathy for them, but they somehow do for the DACA people just because of an arbitrary date cutoff.
Pisses me off so much that like, okay, he's talking about this, but like obviously he clearly differs from his father in this respect, because what does Biden do? Biden caves on all of this stuff. The Democrats cave on all of this stuff, and the bipartisan border bill or whatever, just total capitulation to Republicans. And for what? Because it's like they couldn't even get that legislation passed.
You're never gonna out immigration hawk the Republicans. You should be in favor of some like baseline border security, absolutely, and you should be in favor of like funding border security and stuff like that, because there are some deplorable conditions for the coyotes that you can actually increase, like prevent trafficking and stuff, and also, by the way, like you should know who's coming to the country. I agree with that, but you shouldn't try to like on the rhetoric stuff like, why did we vote for the Laken Riley Act? It's actually, and I in the real time was calling out all these Democratic losers who voted for the Laken Riley Act. It was fear, but all you were doing was giving more discretion in the hands of the federal government now for detaining people. And it seems crazy in this context that like if the Laken Riley Act had come up after everything we're finding out about the immigration transgressions of the Trump administration, I think that it wouldn't have passed. But because they were like pushed into this fear, Democrats bipartisanly passed the Laken Riley Act.
Just, it drives me fucking crazy. And like they're falling for it because, again, Republicans don't get baited into voting for shit like that. Democrats do, because they don't want to look weak on immigration. Yeah. So every single like crackdown on immigration that they put into it, or that's like put in front of them, they sign it because they're just worried about some headline that's like, they want to let criminals in. It's like, yeah, well, guess what? You guys have caved entirely, and they still say that. They still say, you want an open border, you don't care. So, like, there really is no point in appeasing these fucking people when it comes to this. Because, again, you are just, like, you're expending all of this political capital on crackdowns. It's not reform. Instead of what you should be doing, which is offering comprehensive immigration reform, which I feel like Democrats had been promising for, like, a decade or whatever. And yes, I realize you need congressional approval and stuff like that, but I'm saying, like, there needed to have been a better, more effort to whip votes in favor of stuff like this, because this will continually be made to be like a campaign issue until there is reform.
Immigration objectively wasn't on Biden's agenda as much in the first 2 years, and that just is true. And he had a lot of other stuff in his mind. Like I get it, but I think that they should have, because even with those majorities, I think you could have had a grand bargain when you had the House. The reason why you weren't able to pass a bipartisan bill, which was very conservative, really, in the second term, is because you didn't have the House. I think you could have gotten a better deal in the first term, and you would have actually made some changes and simplified things. But like right now, currently, the immigration system is more complicated than the tax system. It is a mess. Anyone who tries to navigate the system, it's super complicated and weird and unintuitive. So yeah. And also to J Mac's point, Obama never had mandatory child separation. that was not a policy of Obama. What we're talking
Children
about
were
is
separated in certain instances,
Yeah.
but the Trump administration
Had a
tried
policy.
tried to claim that was a policy. But there are case-by-case bases where
Obviously makes sense,
sometimes depending on like what the situation was or whatever, it was not appropriate for a child to remain in the care of the person that they had crossed the border with.
Yeah, we're talking
or
about like
we're not like the person they were with was like a family friend, and then it's not as simple as like, well, you remain with them because they're family or whatever.
Right.
Like there were exceptions. It was not that they intended to do that.
Yeah, and it just like when it's discretionless and mandatory child separation, because the whole point was we'll do mandatory separation to discourage illegal immigration, is because people will know when they cross the border they'll be separated from their family. So that was the whole point. Not we'll separate these families in the best interest of the child. Obviously, we would always say what's in the best interest of the child should govern all the time, no matter what, right? Like that's what we would say. But the question from the perspective of the Trump administration is how do we get numbers down on immigration? And what we'll do is we'll scare them by forcibly removing them from the child, even if it's not in the best interest of the child to do that.
I think that the way the Democrats need to go about framing it is like you are actually enhancing crime at the border and encouraging this every day that we don't attempt to reform it, because the more difficult, the more hoops you put in this process for people to jump through, the more creative they get with finding ways to skirt around it, because it's just not practical. Because people are trying to get into the country now. Like, there's no stopping it.
Lack of understanding as to how American corporations economically dominate those countries and how U.S. intervention has created unlivable conditions there too.
And are the incredible beneficiaries of that new blood that enters our bloodstream year after year after year. The only thing that makes us different from fucking China or Russia or anywhere else or Europe or anywhere, and the only reason that I believe that we as America are different beyond the fact of the idea of the Constitution, the idea that we represent, is immigration.
This is
I
Joe
can't even
Biden
believe
talking.
sometimes I'm having this discussion with anybody. How do you think that
You
we
see that clip of him being like, who the hell does he think he is? Who the hell does he think he is?
Joe Biden's funny as fuck.
generation?
I will say,
No, he is.
Joe Biden is really, really fucking funny, and it really is such a shame, his frailty because of his age. Because I think Joe Biden had the potential, and I think really was, from the domestic legacy perspective, a better president than Obama. I've said it consistently. I think he's been the best president of my lifetime, and he's funny as fuck too. And he does change over time his opinions on stuff, and he's moldable. But he's also stubborn in some very annoying ways, and I think it can just be
Hardly unique to him though.
Yeah,
That's
true.
Most presidents.
True.
Most head of states are going to be.
How do you think that we attract the smartest people in the world to the United States of
It's
America?
just like, again, his age is such an impediment.
Yeah,
he had no
it's-
ability to communicate his accomplishments to the public when you're that old. So it becomes like moot that you're charismatic, because it goes from like charisma to geezer and mentally deficient and senile very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
America through immigration. I mean, you sit here and like, just think about it. You got some motherfucker who's made over what $251 billion being a United States citizen that got here and stayed here illegally before he got his citizenship, sitting here lecturing us on who we should allow into the United States of America and giving us a fucking Heil
That's
Hitler
Elon?
along the way.
Elon, yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?
And talking about how gangs are like a threat that's going to come here from other places. I'm like, MS-13 started in a Koreatown in LA.
Yeah,
Not to mention,
exactly.
like, the U.S. prison system invented gangs.
Yes.
Like, we are basically like the creators of worldwide gang warfare. Like the styles, basically everything about it. And so it's just crazy, the idea that like we're going to build a wall to keep gang members out. Yet 21 Savage is on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, exactly. Or, or we sit here and watch Sons of Anarchy. It's just such bullshit. It's just such racism. It's just so easy pickings, and it just makes me so angry. Have you read the quote from Dietrich Bonhoeffer?
No, it's a cool name though. I wish it was my name.
He goes to, hold on, where does he? This is like, he talks about this thing called like elimination theory. This is like a Maddow thing.
Awesome.
Let's see
This
what
will
he
be our
talks
last clip because I have a hard out at 5:30, but I'll rate into you.
Okay.
Lead to some of these situations.
Wait, explain that to me again. What's the conspiracy in that?
The conspiracy is that most mainstream conspiracy theories, flat earth, chemtrails, QAnon, all that stuff is deliberate misinformation to convince dumb people that they're doing important research and keep them away from the truth, which requires a higher
Oh, I
control.
totally believe that. Like, look, here, I'll give you the hierarchy of things. You have Steve Bannon. If you want to understand what the intellectual direction of what we'll call it the MAGA movement is, just listen to Steve Bannon. He spells it out. He says flat out. He says that he's going to bring the war that they've known for a long time, that if the war for the United States of America is going to be won on the streets of Los Angeles. Steve Bannon flat out said that, you know what we're going to do before the election was even over. He said that we're going to contest the election. We're going to say that the mail-in ballots were fraudulent, and we're going to contest the election, and we're going to go as far as we can, and we're going to break the institutions as much as we possibly can.
Almost 100% believe strongly that the 2020 election was stolen.
And we're not going to allow this to be stolen.
Can you
in the
pause real quick?
canvassing room.
Because I honestly think that this kind of thing, if they had used Hunter, by the way, shout out Joanna. This is a Joanna opinion, and I'm just remembering it months later. She is really ahead of the curve on absolutely everything. Holy shit, I just had a deja vu moment because this is her opinion. I'm just repeating it. They need to use Hunter. They need to bring Hunter into the open to have these kinds of discussions. They needed to bring the family instead of hiding behind them. They were running scared on everything. They were running scared. And that I think is like, not to bring it back to the whole discussion with like Vanguard, Hutch, but I just mean like, I think that there's a general feeling that they were running scared and people sense that fear and trepidation. And even on Netanyahu and Israel stuff, like you really felt that they were just not in control of the situation that entire time. Or at least they weren't able, their rhetoric wasn't matching their actions, or it was Netanyahu whacking the tail the entire time. But on so many different issues, I think that it felt like there was an air of fear and of like, let's hide Joe, let's hide Hunter, let's hide all, where I think that they needed to integrate them, because this kind of conversation, it really does humanize Hunter. And he stops being this like boogeyman where the right can kind of put a bunch of stuff, like imagine that Hunter just like dropped a podcast in the middle of this whole like the hype about Hunter and Russia and just like brought people on to have these discussions. I almost think that would be a nice distraction, and it would eliminate a lot of their attacks.
You're seeing him in peak form now because he had done some interviews earlier, and I remember watching Kyle Kulinski cover it, and he looked rough because I think he was still in recovery. So I don't know how feasible it would have been, but it's like if Biden, let's say Biden had been reelected or something like that, I do think that there's obviously no burying the story. So at that point, you should attempt to narrative control, and there's no way you can successfully narrative control without just having these people at the front and center of it and being more transparent and attempting to craft an image around that, because it just seems like a futile exercise to like, you're gonna hide the first family and the president. It just is like, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You know.
On that note, I do have to be out of here. I need to get ready for dinner. Guys, you should all follow Straighterade. I'm gonna raid into Straighterade, and she's gonna finish reviewing stuff and taking a look for sure. So, and we'll be back on Tuesday next week. And so check us out. And thank you, Aaron, for as always, the great stream.
Course, we'll finish the rest of it because this is just the good stuff. I want to see you get angry, and we'll do that in the next episode of Just Press Play on Tuesday, you guys.
Fuck yeah. All right, and talk soon. The raid goes out now. All right, bye guys. Bye. And catch me on Tim Pool